Just a little bit. A rubber league for your Friday afternoon. How about that? Well, I'm going to give you some. I'm going to give you some rugby league on a Friday afternoon. Dolphins, Roosters, even though it is deeply impacted by Origin here. My goodness me, it is just absolutely romper-stomped by Origin. And look, it's a very, very important game here between these two teams. Extremely important. The Dolphins sit in 7th position. The Roosters obviously sit up there in 4th position on fraud alert, massive fraud alert. Even though they got a good win against the Raiders last week, they would need to win here today to jump off of fraud alert there for Mike, because the previous 2 weeks did happen against the old Cowboys and also... who was the other team they lost to? Gee whiz, completely forgot about it. I haven't had much sleep since the World Cup started, so forgive me on that one. That's right, they lost to the Melbourne Storm 2 rounds after that Cowboys embarrassment at Suncorp Stadium. So they're still on fraud alert for the time being, but I will be okay with taking them off. Even in an Origin-impacted game, I'd still be okay taking them off here today if they were able to get this win. But the Dolphins, when they were Origin-impacted in their first game against the Canberra Raiders, well, they actually came through in flying colours, where they won 30 points to 18, I think it was. No, 30 points to 22 was the Dolphins getting the win over the Raiders back in round 12. Then they had the bye, and then they've gone and absolutely smashed the Cowboys in round 14, 40-14. So, you know, the Dolphins are firing, but they do lose some really, really key players here. And the Roosters, well, they're firing after last week, but they have been susceptible to a little bit of a slip-up. So very, very interesting in regards to how this game does go here today. I really don't know how to predict it because, again, those big stars are out, but the Roosters lose a whole hell of a lot. And realistically, you shouldn't be expecting them to win with these kind of players out. But you just never know with the Chooks, man. You just never know. They've still got a good enough team to win it, but also the Dolphins have a good enough team to win it here. Also, just before we do get into the preview here for today's game that starts in 45 minutes' time, I just need to let you guys know that if you can hear like a deep bass in the background of this microphone, you may not be able to, but if you can hear a deep bass or music in the background, that is coming from I'm here in Nha Trang in Vietnam, and there is a festival. If you follow me on Instagram, BKRsport, you would have seen it. It hasn't started yet, but they're doing all their warm-ups for tonight, so it's quite loud outside. So that's why I'm trying to speak quite loud as well right now to try and make sure the microphone only picks up my voice. But if you can hear music in the background or a deep bass, it's because that concert thing outside that's happening this weekend is absolutely damn well nuts for noise, man. I've got the perfect view of it, but also I'm trying to stream here. I'm trying to stream, but you can't do anything about it. So I just wanted to let you guys know, in case you can hear that in the background, it is not like music coming from my room or whatnot. It is just quite literally a massive festival happening just outside my apartment. But all right, guys, let's get into the two-team lineups here for today. Don't forget, so tomorrow we will have the Warriors taking on the Sharks and also the Eels vs Raiders. We will be live early tomorrow morning as well, though, for Canada taking on Bosnia and Herzegovina in the Football World Cup. We were live for 2 games today. South Africa losing 2-1 to Mexico, and also a great game between South Korea and my brain is blanking right now. My brain is absolutely blanking right now. It was a fantastic game. Gee whiz, Czechia. That's the one, Czechia. So yeah, that was this morning. And then tomorrow we will have Canada taking on the Bosnian Herzegovinians, and then also a massive game for Australians to look at, which is USA versus Paraguay. But tomorrow in the NRL, we'll have the Warriors taking on the Sharks in a big game, and also the Parramatta Eels taking on the Canberra Raiders before on Sunday. Wow, what a day that is. We're going to have Australia playing their first game against Turkey in the World Cup. We've also got the Tigers versus the Titans. So very, very big weekend here, guys. The Bulldogs, Cowboys, Dragons, Knights, Panthers, Manly, and Storm all have the bye. But a very, very big weekend here. So let's get into this Dolphins-Roosters game for today. Obviously, smack that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Get involved in the chat. Let's fire it up. And hopefully, this is a good game, despite the fact that everybody is out in this game. Everyone is out. So the Dolphins, they come into this game from 6th position, and the Roosters come into this game from 3rd position. I clarify, the Dolphins actually come in from 7th position because the Rabbitohs got a win yesterday, a very, very healthy win against the Brisbane Broncos, scoring 48 points there. I think it was to 6, if I'm not mistaken, 48 to 6. Massive win for the Rabbitohs. So they do jump above the Dolphins for the time being, but obviously with a win here, we'll get into the later in a second. But with a win here, they would go above them. The Dolphins are actually in 7th. The Roosters are in 3rd, and this is at Suncorp Stadium in Vegas. Now, the NC for the Dolphins, Brian Puniu, Oren Keeley, Sebastian Sewa, Tafita Nafahu, and Trey Fuller, with the outs being Hamiso Tapawai-Fido, Kulikefu Finifibiaki, Max Platt, Selwyn Cubbo, and Thomas Flegler. The fullback is Trey Fuller, with the wingers being Jermaine Sarko and Tavita Nafahu. Centers of Jack Bostock and Herbie Farnworth. The 5'8" is Cody Nikarima, and the halfback is Isai Katoa. The front row forwards are Felice Kafusi and Francis Molo, with the number 9 being Jeremy Marshall King. Back rowers Kennelly Lemuelu and Oren Keeley, with the 13 being Morgan Knowles, and the interchange is Bradley Schneider, Kurt Donahue, Tom Gilbert, Ray Stone, Sebastian Sewer, and Brian Puniu, with the coach being Christian Wolf. So this Dolphins team does have some impacts. It's not as significant as the Roosters do, but with that being said, Hamiso is their starting fullback. He's not playing here today. Fenifuiaki, what a deserved call-up that is for the back row spot in Origin. I actually thought this should have been the selection in Game 1 over the likes of Britt Nakora, who I haven't been seeing some fantastic form from the last couple of years. I think Fenifuiaki should play Game 1. But at least he has been selected for Game 2, so he's not here today. That's a starting back rower. Max Plath starting in the third day. You know, Max Plath is a starting player for this Dolphins team. He's also not here. Selwyn Cobbo, starting winger, not here. And Thomas Flegler, starting front rower, not here. So that's 5 really crucial players here. But at the very least, they've still got guys like Herbie Farnworth. Aren't you lucky, Dolphins fans, that he's actually not eligible for Origin? Because he was close, but he just wasn't eligible. He wasn't there in time to play for Queensland. And the same thing goes for you, New South Wales fans. Aren't you lucky that Herbie can't play Origin? But Herbie is here, Jack Bostock's still here, Jermaine Sarko, Tavita Nafahu's played plenty of footy, so you're pretty comfortable with him. Cody Nikarima is still here, and Isai Katoa's still here, so you still have a pretty healthy team lineup in regards to that back line. It's just ultimately missing Selwyn Cobbo there and also Hamiso. But Trey Fuller can definitely do a job in that fullback. We know what he can do. Can have an off game for sure, but it's going to be hard to have an off game when you've got this backline, because the Dolphins backline is absolutely dangerous. And then in regards to the forwards, at least they've still got Marshall King there in that number 9, but they do lose a lot of absolute punch with Kutakafi Fenifuiaki. They lose a lot of hard work through Max Plath, and also a lot of big-time work with Thomas Flegler. So they do get pieced apart in regards to the forwards. But the Dolphins, I think they should be fancying themselves here today. This year, as I say every single week, they have been earning their way to score their tries, not like last year where they would just go all-out attack from the start. And it would be 34, 32 kind of games, or 40 to 32 kind of games, which we saw earlier on the season with the Rabbitohs and the Dolphins. That's what they were last year. And then they came in this year with the same thought process in round 1. And they lost that game, and they're like, okay, shit, we need to fix this. And now they've been highly emphasizing on their defense in comparison to their attack. So through this season, and now this isn't a direct reflection of what you're going to see tonight. I'm going to make sure that is known. What I'm about to say is not a direct reflection of what you're going to see tonight, because these stats are based off of what you're seeing with the full team, not with the team they have here today. But it still needs to be spoken about. So the Dolphins this year have conceded 253 points. That is very good considering where they have been in the past. Very, very good compared to last year. Actually, let's go quickly clarify that. So in round 15 this year, they have given up 253 points through the 12 games. In round 15 last year, well, actually, to be fair, they'd only given up 262. It gets really bad the longer it goes on. This is actually kind of the point of the year where they did start to fall off, actually. And this is actually, yeah, the point of the year. Actually, let me just make sure. Round 15 last year, 253, they were playing Newcastle. That would have been a win for sure. They went from... Oh, no, they actually lost that game to Newcastle. Yeah, they did. They lost that game to Newcastle the year they won the Spoon there, the Knights. So that tells you a lot. And they went from... Yeah, they gave up 25-odd points in that game and went from a 262 to 26 points given up in 288. So, yeah, this was the point of the year where they start to really fall off in 2025. So I guess that is something to keep an eye on, that this was the point of the year that the fall-off did happen. I guess if they were to lose this game to the Roosters, maybe you could kickstart something, but I'm not too confident in regards to that, because I have been impressed with the way that the Dolphins have been defending, despite the fact that, again, the first half of last year was only 11 points different on a worse level, but only 11 points there. So the defense has actually been quite similar to the first half of last year, funnily enough. I guess that second half really just waxed us for 6, and then we completely forgot about that. But the 253 points so far this season, that's behind the Panthers, the Warriors, Manly, with one less game played too, mind you. The Roosters, it's also behind... No, it's not. That's it. Only though they're actually 5th for defense right now. They are 5th for defense in the competition, the Dolphins. And they have played... Well, they have played one less... No, they're not going to go below anybody else, really. There's nobody else really that close, unless they were to give up about 50 points here today. to go below Cronulla. But then again, they're on 12 as well. If they get up 50 points, they would actually go below the Rabbitohs in regards to their defense. But still, they're 5th, 6th on that equation, which is very, very impressive there. So I think that the Dolphins should be commended in regards to the way they have adjusted themselves, because I came into this season thinking this team really doesn't really have a hope, because there was no signs of them actually fixing the defense. And round one, the first couple of rounds, showed the same kind of thought process until they got to that Sharks game, and you saw a little bit of an adjustment there. You saw that they had changed their game plan and they were earning their right to attack through their defense. Cronulla game in Cronulla proved that dramatically. Now, they are still up and down. They still lost by 50 points to Manly. That did happen, and that can still happen. But that was also a bit of an ambush from Manly once they got that new coach, their new coach of Kieran Foran, who has been doing a cracker job for Manly. They got rid of Seabold, and it was an ambush. I don't think the Dolphins would have expected that at all from the Manly Seagulls of what we saw in the first couple of rounds, the first 3 games for them. So I'm pretty impressed by their defense. Attacking-wise, has slightly regressed on last year. Actually, you know what? We'll go back to 2025 as well. So in round 15 of this year, they've got 330 points. But in round 15 of last year, they had 408. So yeah, they've definitely regressed in regards to their attack by round 15 by about 70, 80 odd points. Roughly 70 to 80 odd points. Right this second, they're currently behind the Panthers, the Warriors, Manly, not the Roosters actually, funnily enough, the Knights, the Rabbitohs, the Sharks, Cowboys, Storm, and that's it. So they're actually in 9th for attack. They are 5th for defense, but they are in 9th for attack. So you've seen that clear direction in regards to not forgetting about it, but also intentionally regressing in regards to the attack to focus on the fact of their defense, which was their biggest problem. So I'm okay with them dropping down to 9th, because in comparison with last year in round 15, so they're 9th on the attack this year, but round 15 of last year, the Dolphins had scored 408 points. They were numero uno. They were numero uno, number 1 for attack in the competition on 408. The next best team was the Storm on 404. Then you had the Raiders on 396. That was where they were situated last year. So they've gone on a drop-off from... first down to 9th on the attack. And then in regards to defense last year, they were just behind the Bulldogs, the Warriors, the Storm. They were 4th. At this point of the year last year, they were 4th for defense. I don't think that really got spoken about. No, they're behind Newcastle as well. They're 5th. So right now, their defense is actually the same. Ooh, that's a really interesting thing to note there. The Dolphins' defense is actually 5th last year at the same time to 5th this year at the same time. But their attack has gone from 1st last year to now in 9th position. So there's actually a significant regression there. But I think it ultimately will come down to the fact of if they do follow the same trajectory of having a good positive season last year at the same point in the first half of the year before falling off a cliff. And I don't think tonight is necessarily going to tell us a lot. I feel like if they lose this game, it could, because we're about to get into the Roosters team and they've got a lot of big-time players out. But that is an interesting stat to note, that their defense is the exact same as last year at this point, but their attack is dramatically far behind in comparison to where they were. But again, you have noticed that shift in the way they play. Now, the Roosters, on the other hand, their ins, Benai Uelu, Cody Ramsey, Junior Tupou, Reece Foley, Rex Bassingthwaite, Taylor Lasalu, Toby Rodwell, and Tommy Talau are in, with the outs being James Tedesco, Lindsay Collins, Mark Nawanatawase, Reece Robson, Robert Toya, Sam Walker, Tom Rodwell, and Victor Radley. Massive, massive outs there. Wow. Their fullback is Cody Ramsey, with the wingers being Tommy Talau, who shifts from the 5 into the 2, and you've got Rex Bassingthwaite, who comes into the 5 as the number 17. You go to the centres. Billy Smith shifts from the 2 into the centres, where he's playing number 3, and Reece Foley, who was originally meant to play 3, he's now in the 4 on the other side. You go to the 5'8", which is Hugo Savala, with the halfback being Daly Cherry Evans, who is the captain. The front row forwards are Nafahu White and Spencer Leniu, with the number 9 being Connor Watson. The back row is Angus Crichton and Siwa Wong, with the 13 being Celestia Faketi. And then you go to the interchange of Egan Butcher, who drops out from where he was centre. He goes onto the bench alongside Benai Uelu, Taylor Lasalu, Nat Butcher and Junior Tupou, and Toby Rodwell, with the coach being Trent Robinson. You go to their outs. They're missing their star fullback in James Tedesco, won the Dally M last year. one of their starting props in Lindsay Collins, their starting winger in Mark Nwantawase, their starting number 9 in Reece Robson, their starting centre in Robert Toya, their starting halfback in Sam Walker, and their starting 13 in Victor Radley. This is pieced apart. They have a lot of players out. They really should not be winning this game because, again, whilst the Dolphins players are important, this is 3 players of their spine. When you lose one player of your spine, you can definitely be okay. When you lose 2 players of your spine, you're probably not going to win. But when you lose 3 players of your spine, you have no real right to win this game. Especially when their 9 is intact, their 7 is intact, and their 6 is intact, and the only change to their spine is Trey Fuller in for Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow, and we know that Trey Fuller can definitely do a job here. So this Roosters team, this would be a very strong win here today under the circumstances. Very strong. And it is still a very important win for them because they're coming off the back of a win against the Raiders 26-0 to kind of get themselves back into the momentum of it all after 2 disappointing losses to the Melbourne Storm, 18 points to 4, and also the 18-12 loss at Magic Round to the Cowboys. They kind of just got through against the Titans in that game with some controversy hitting that. They won 28-12, but if you watch the game, you understand what we're talking about. Against the Broncos, when they won 38-24, well, they led the first half 24-0, absolutely stunning, and then got out to a 30-0 ball game, and then the Broncos came charging back in to make it 30-24 before the Roosters were able to get over the line and make it 38-24 and a 13-plus win there because Tony Staggs decided to elbow a player in the back of his head. So that was a bit of a scare, but it was also a really good performance in that first half there from the Sydney Roosters. And then you go back to that win against the Dragons, 62-16. I do expect better from the Roosters. I predicted them pre-season to win this competition. Do I still think they could? Sure. I've got the Panthers to win it. I think everybody does. But I do expect better here from this Roosters team. And culture-wise, they definitely can still win a game here like today. But I think I have to go with my head rather than... I don't even know if it's my gut, because again, head-wise, told me to tip the Rabbitohs last night, and gut was saying Broncos, and I went with my head. So that was definitely the right decision there. And I think that I'm probably still going to be backing in the Dolphins here. I think they really should be winning it, but I again, as we went through the stats before, this Dolphins team, at this point of the year, was when they lost that game to Newcastle. I think that might have been over there in Perth, and from that point, they fell off a cliff. And I mean, they fell off an absolute cliff. So I keep an eye on that, but I think they're a different team now to what they were at the first half of last year. But it is something to note. So I will take the Dolphins here. At the end of the day, it's Origin impacted on both teams, so you never know what's going to happen in an Origin impacted game. The Roosters usually do have a pretty good record, I believe, over the Dolphins, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be completely wrong there too. But just off the top of my head, I feel like the Roosters have a pretty good record against the Dolphins. It's not as desperation of a win here for the Chooks at the moment because they are situated up there in 4th position, equal 3rd. But they can drop off pretty quickly. They're only 2 points away from 9th position right now in the Cowboys. So they can drop off very, very quickly. So don't become complacent. This is still an important period of the year. It's not just a fact of, it's Origin period. It's okay if we lose a game because we don't have our players. We have excuses. Fuck the excuses, man. You need to win your games because you should have the depth here. You have been pieced apart, but you've also still got to come in with the mentality that you still have the depth here and you still should be competing heavily in games. And if you are a big-time team that's going to compete with the Panthers when it comes to the pointy end of the season, you need to be firing up here for this game. And if you lose by a couple of points, sure, you're just there was excuses there, but also you should have the mentality that we can win every game regardless of the outs we have. And again, with the Dolphins, they've got players out. So, they've got excuses if they lose as well. But both teams have excuses here, and that's why it's really harsh to see a matchup like this that could have been an absolute belter full strength. And I would have maybe even potentially leaned with the Dolphins. I don't know. I really don't know how I would have thought of that full strength because the Roosters have been that up and down whilst the Dolphins have been a little bit more consistent of late, despite that Manly loss really whacking you for 6. But I'm going to take the Dolphins, not confidently, but I will take the Dolphins because they have been less impacted by Origin and their 1 through 7 is a lot more intact than the 1 through 7 for the Roosters. Because the 1 is the only change and the 1 and the 5 are the only changes for the Dolphins in that back 1 through 7. Whilst for the Roosters, their 1, their 2 in Mark Nwana-Tuwase. They're 3 in Robert Toya. So they're 1, 2, 3 already done there. And then you've also got the 7 of Sam Walker. So 4 out of their 7 have been changed compared to the Dolphins. 2 out of their front 7. And that just really comes down to the fullback position there comparatively to the 2 spine players that are out in that back line, plus also Reece Robson in that 9 to really emphasise the point. So I will take the Dolphins, but again, culture-wise, the Roosters could still get up for this game, and they do need to treat it as a very important game because otherwise they'll be 2 points away from dropping out of the 8. Now, in regards to the ladder, the Roosters, they are on 20 points, equal with the Manly Seagulls and also the Newcastle Knights. Now, the Knights and Manly both had a bye, so they will finish on the 20. The Roosters have a plus 73, Manly have a plus 117, and the Knights have a plus 32. If the Roosters are to win this game, well, they would go above the Manly Seagulls into 3rd position and go equal with the New Zealand Warriors. Now, the Warriors play the Cronulla Sharks tomorrow in a belter of a game. There is a pretty significant switch up there, though, of 81 points between the Roosters and the Warriors in the points differential. Warriors have plus 154. The Roosters have a plus 73. So the Roosters would have to win this game by dead set like 50, and the Sharks would have to beat the Warriors by, 30-odd points. So that's not happening. The Roosters would go into 3rd position, and that is where they would end this round, but they'd at least be equal with the Warriors, and they just hope the Sharks do beat them, right? And then they can try and claw back some points differential. But I don't think this Dolphins game is exactly the one that you're looking to points to shape that points differential. So 3rd position is where they would finish, unless it was a miracle, by the end of the round. On the other side, though, if they lose this game, well, they are 51 points ahead of Newcastle. So as long as they don't get slapped by 51, which if they're off tonight and the Dolphins, with their more intact 1 through 7, are on, that is entirely possible. It really is. But I'm not going to back it in. So I'm going to say that even with a loss here, you probably do stay in 4th. The Rabbitohs, they can't jump you. The Dolphins are on 18 with a plus 77. So with a loss here, you would drop into 5th position because they've already got a better points differential than you in 7th with a plus 77. You're plus 73. And then the Sharks, who are plus 62, they only need an 11-point swing. So if you lose this game by 6 and then the Sharks beat the Warriors tomorrow by 6, you would then drop into 6th position. And the Cowboys have had their bye. So the point of the matter is that you would drop into 6th and you would only be 2 points away from those teams below. The benefit to you, though, is that you're essentially above the Cowboys by 2 wins right now because they've got a minus 13 to your plus 73. So that points differential equals a game gap, essentially, and it forces the Cowboys to win that one more game than the Roosters. So again, with a loss here, it's relatively likely. I don't know what I'm tipping the Sharks-Warriors game tomorrow, but that's at 50-50. So the Roosters dead set could easily go to 6th this week, but also with a win, they will finish off in 3rd. Now on the other side, the Dolphins, they're on 18 points, equal with the South Sydney Rabbitohs, the Cronulla Sharks, and also the North Queensland Cowboys. Rabbitohs have a plus 86. They've already played. The Dolphins have a plus 77. The Sharks have a plus 62, and the Cowboys have a minus 13. If the Dolphins are to win this game, they would go above the Rabbitohs into 6th position. They would also go above the Knights into 5th position because they've got a plus 32 to the plus 77. And then they would also go above the Roosters into 4th position because they've got a plus 77 to their plus 73. And that would obviously widen. They would, again, have to win this game by roughly 50 points to go above the Manly Seagulls there. They would have to win by about 50-odd points to go up Manly into 3rd position, the Dolphins. So, look, again, if they're really, really on and fired up, then, we'll see with the outset for the Roosters. But I would probably just be locking them in for the 4th position there. However, if the Dolphins win and the Sharks win by enough, so if the Sharks win by 12 more points than whatever the Dolphins win by today, the Sharks would actually jump them regardless. So the Dolphins would jump into 4th, but the Sharks could then could jump actually into 4th, even with the Dolphins getting a win, and then down into 5th position there. But that would require the Sharks to really piece apart the Warriors and win by 12 more than whatever the Dolphins put up today. On the flip side, if the Dolphins do lose this game, they will be very scarily looking at that Sharks game, because if the Sharks win with their plus 62, Dolphins plus 77, if the Sharks win, they would jump above them on points regardless, and the Dolphins go to 8th. However, if the Dolphins... it's actually 15 more points the Sharks need than the Dolphins, mind you. It's actually 15 more points, forget that. But if the Dolphins lost by 15 points or more, they'd actually go below the Sharkies here today. So the Sharks just need to lose by 15 less than what the Dolphins do in that case. But with that being said, if the Sharks win, Dolphins lose, they would go to 8th position. And then the Cowboys have already had their bye. They're on minus 13. Forget about them. The Tigers, they're on 16. If they beat the Titans on Sunday, sure, but they're on minus 78. Awful points differential because they've been getting absolutely slaughtered in recent weeks. So the lowest the Rabbitohs could go in, the lowest the Dolphins could go into is into 8th position because the points differential of the Cowboys and the Tigers is just simply not good enough to be competing on that level. So that is the preview here for today, guys. I am going to take the Dolphins head-wise, but also be very aware that the Roosters can still absolutely win this game with both teams having a significant portion of outs. It's just that the Roosters have less outs on a significant note. But all right, let's get into the chat. Let's see what you are saying. Obviously, smack that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Like I said, tomorrow, guys, big day of sport at early on in the morning at 4:45 a.m. your time. We'll be live for Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then also at 10:45 a.m. your time, we'll be live for USA versus Paraguay. And then we've also got Sharks versus Warriors later on in the afternoon. And also the Raiders versus Eels game. And we've also got some footballing action starting up early in the morning on Sunday. So, yeah, big weekend ahead, man. So hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Let's get to the chat. Jeremy says, howdy, Blaze, mate. Get around you. Lockie says, Dolphins should win 13 plus. Not necessarily. The Dolphins also have plenty of outs too. And the Roosters, they have had plenty of outs before. Look at round 2 last year against the Penrith Panthers. They were 11-1 underdogs in that game. They had plenty of players out. They had a complete depth team in against the Panthers who'd come in and smashed but beat the Sharks over in Vegas 30-24. And then the week after, or 2 weeks after, the Panthers played the Roosters, with the Roosters having pretty much everybody out. And obviously in a transitional period, as they'd lost players like Warrior Hargraves and Joe Manu, and it was a whole different period there for the Roosters. And the Roosters came in and shocked them and beat them. That was the Penrith Panthers of all teams. So I would be very hesitant in regards to just saying, yeah, the Dolphins should win this game 13+, because they've got players out in Thomas Flegler, Selwyn Cobbo, Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow, Max Plath, and Kulakefu Funafuiaki. So they're without some big-time players as well. But again, I would lean that way in regards to Dolphins getting the win on the less severity of the outs. But it would tell you a lot if the Dolphins did go and lose this game still. Ruziate Tawalo says, who do you think will win the World Cup? For me, I hope it's Portugal or Brazil. We'll talk more about World Cup when we're on the World Cup games. We're live for every single World Cup match. So we'll try and heavily emphasize the conversation of the FIFA World Cup for the World Cup games, just like we usually respect when we're on for the football. We prefer to really hone in on the football and relevant conversations, sort of. Sort of. What were we speaking about this morning? At some point of a game, we were talking about home and away neighbours or something like that. But football's a completely different sport to rugby league, and it's a lot easier to kind of get sidetracked into conversations when the flow of the game is kind of in the grind of it all and just in the middle of the park. Rugby league is bang, 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 bang a lot of the time. But yeah, we'll try and focus those conversations for the football streams, unless this game ends up being like a 30-point, 40-point blowout, and then whatever happens. Bretton says, audio's good, can't hear the background. Yes, sweet. Well, the sound isn't on right now. Again, they're just doing their warm-ups and all that kind of jazz. So I think that the most of the loud noise will come actually after the stream finishes. Just Burger says, Roosters might win. Peter S says, do you think Ashley Klein's gambling problems could explain some of his controversial calls? I'm going to be very careful in the way that I respond to this, because I don't want to insinuate something like that. That is a pretty hefty accusation to make. So I'm going to be very careful in the way that I respond to this. I think that the question is absolutely there to discuss this. I think that with the fact that the NRL knew, obviously Ashley Klein does have controversial calls, but so does every NRL referee. Firstly, I want to say that Ashley Klein is a human, and whilst I disagree with some of his refereeing calls, and whilst his gambling situation is very significant in the game right now, I really hope that he is mentally okay, because these last couple of weeks he has been absolutely slaughtered for what happened in Origin and in other situations in other games, and now he's got this gambling thing. So God bless Ashley Klein, regardless of the banter and the shit talk and whatnot that we have on these streams, and regardless of what he's done wrong. The fact of the matter is that he's still a human, and God bless him, and I hope that he seeks the help that he needs to get. But the question is absolutely there in regards to it's all well and good that the conversation from the NRL and what's been said is that it was only horses and dogs and it had nothing to do with the NRL. But I don't think that he would do it, but also gambling addicts can do some pretty crazy things to manage their debt. So I don't believe he has done it, but I think that the question is absolutely there to discuss it and say, well, this is a problem because you knew about this for 4 years, NRL. They knew about it for 4 years and the fact that he'd gone into debt 400K or whatever it is. So he's not spending chump change. It's a serious conversation, yeah. And anybody who's just wiping it off and just saying, oh, it was just horses and dogs, well, I don't even necessarily believe that is just guaranteed just because that's what's been said. There is many loopholes that can be jumped through because obviously any person who is involved with the NRL, it's illegal for you to bet on any rugby league games. And I think that even goes down to any kind of lower levels as well, and even over to the English Super League. I don't believe you're allowed to bet on the sport of rugby league whatsoever. So yeah, it's a very controversial situation. There is, I'm not going to be accusing him of corruption and rigging the game, but again, the conversation is valid, and you can have your questions and potential complaints, and you just have to let them kind of decide, legally speaking, and also in regards to accountability speaking, because regardless, this is an issue for Ashley Klein anyway. Even if it has nothing to do with rugby league, it is still an issue that needs to be he needs to deal with internally anyway, which, you know, he said that he has. And I really, God bless, I hope that he has, man, because gambling addiction is a brutal, brutal thing, and you will lose everything. You know, these places are not built for your success. They are built for their own internal success. Just because you go and win a multi that's 5K, you'll probably end up spending that 5K, and you'll probably deposit another 1,000 or 2,000 kind of deal, or even in the small amounts kind of deal. The fact is that you lose more than you win, but it's just certain times that you will win. So this is a very big discussion point right now for the gambling involvement in the game. As you guys have seen, I've never taken a gambling sponsorship here on this channel. I've had problems with gambling in the past, and that's why it is such a serious conversation to have. And I think that there needs to be a lot more responsibility in regards to gambling. We do talk about people gambling and whatnot, and we do talk about like our best bets for try scorers and all that kind of jazz. It is your decision if you do that. I think that you are all adults. Most of the people here, pretty much everybody that I have is between the ages of 24 to 60. And then we do have a couple of younger lads in the 18 and above range. But our audience is quite mature in comparison. So I trust that you have your own judgment to realize when it's getting too much for you. And I really hope that none of you go down the same path of like a gambling addiction, like we're seeing with Ashley Klein. And like we see so much in the game, you know, Brandon Smith's had a conversation. We've had a conversation about Brandon Smith before as well, and this is such a large involvement in our sport, unfortunately. So that's what I have to really say about that. But again, Ashley Klein is a human at the end of the day, and this would be a very, very embarrassing situation coming in a really crucial time for him, considering that he is actually the Origin Game 2 referee, and in the last 2 weeks, he's had some very, very controversial moments. So I think the way I've handled that is okay. Because again, I don't want to throw accusations around on that significant level. Edward says, happy to see Rex get his debut tonight. Went to school with him. Is it his debut? I swear he's played. Oh, no, he played pre-season. Okay. Is it okay? So it's his debut. Fair enough. Good on him. I know he played the pre-season. Edson says, Homer dropped his donut. What are you talking about? Nate says, g'day, big fella. I got my 3 legs up. Oh, well, here we go. Just as we're talking about gambling, we got Nate coming in. But again, I trust that Nate is aware of what he's doing, and he's responsible with what he's doing. He's all just having a bit of a laugh, really, and getting involved in it. But g'day, big fella. I got me 3 legs up in the South Korea game. How good was that? That game was unreal between South Korea and Czechia. That was unreal of a game. Looking for over 7.5 corners in the Canada match to keep it alive. I've got Roosters for the upset. Love it. You've always got the upset. Canada over 7.5 corners. That's going to be an interesting one there tonight. It will be, because Bosnia and Herzegovina, I'm telling you, Edin Zeko is a monster. Fire up. Should be a good one. GT says, yeah, 100 earning their right to attack is definitely the key to consistency, 1,000,000%. And he says, howdy legends, how are we all? Bring on the footy, got Herbie for a try and Cody Ramsey. Yes, I know, biased Dragons fan, biased Dragons fan. Biased Dragons fan, but rate it, fire up. Fire up, but you're not getting Herbie. He's not coming to the Dragons. Tansy says, yeah, I was late for the game, but I'm here now. Well, the game doesn't start for another 10 minutes time, so you're not late. You're not late, you're still 10 minutes early. Up to Finn says, let's go to boys. Benny West says, my heart and head says Dolphins by 13 plus. I think it's entirely possible, but I also think it's entirely possible that we could see it on the other side. Good luck says, shut up. Well, it's time for you to get a job, champion. And he says, I'm doing well, legend. Always back Cody in for a try. Go the Mighty Dragons. Surely we beat the bye. Tony says, what's your score prediction for this game? Oh, man, it's hard. It's a hard one with all these Origin players out. I think there's an entire possibility that it could be 40-16 to the Dolphins, but there's also an entire possibility that it could be 30-12 to the Roosters for mine. I would probably lean more towards the Dolphins side, but I'd also kind of bring in that score quite a lot because I think the Roosters will still be up for the game, but it might be a little bit too difficult with that 1 through 7 being quite intact there for the Dolphins. Ibrahim says, this should be a very easy win for the Dolphins. I don't necessarily agree. That backline for the Dolphins is good even without Hammer, to be honest, and absolutely clears the Roosters backline tonight. Sure, but also we've seen the Roosters overcome adversity before, plenty of times. Tansy says, come on, defense. Nay says, shit, I thought Couture was an Origin camp. Didn't realize he's playing. Yeah, no, he is playing today. Benny West says, the players stepping in will try and impress the coach, work harder than normal. Yeah, that's also true. Jess with the £10 donation. So this is a bet from yesterday. Appreciate you, Jess. Thank you very much for still thinking about me, even if it was from yesterday. Thank you very much for the £10 donation. We got Harrison saying, thoughts on Herbie Farmworth first, second, or third, and Dolphins 13 plus at 9-1. Don't mind the Herbie Farmworth bet at all. That's a fantastic little suggestion there, and I think that Herbie Farmworth should be like a guarantee here today in a lot of ways. But Dolphins 13 plus, again, you've heard my conversation throughout this stream. I think that it is quite likely, but also I am always aware of the Sydney Roosters too. GT said, I know the stats say the Finns' defense is the same as last year, but I feel like our defense is way better than it has ever been. Not necessarily. Again, I think that the second half of last year has completely warped our mind to what the first half of the year was for the Dolphins, because I'm sure we would have been speaking about this last year at the same point. Our commentary's matured a lot more in the way that we cover it, and I don't know if we were heavily emphasizing it as much as we are this year, but I don't necessarily know. I can't really put myself back into round 15 of last year to remember, prior to the Knights game, remember exactly what we were talking about in regards to the Dolphins defense, because again, it is only 11 points worse off last year than it is this year, but again, that first attack has gone down to the 9th attack, so that is something to speak about there with Redcliffe. I am impressed with the Dolphins defense comparatively this year, and I'm pretty happy to say that they are in 5th position, which is a much improved on the second half of last year. But again, this is when they fell off. This is the point of the year they fell off. But to go against that, the Broncos last week against the Titans, that same time last year in round 14 was against the Titans at Suncorp. The week after they lost 30-26 to the Dragons last year at Suncorp. And then this year they lost 30-26 to the Dragons at Suncorp. And that was their lowest point of the season. And then from that Titans game last year in round 14, that's when they decided, no, this is round 14 now, isn't it? What round are we in? We are in round 15. Yes, so round 14 against the Titans at Suncorp in the mental health round. That's when they really turned it around and slapped the Gold Coast, and then they just went on a run for the second half of the season and won the comp. The Broncos didn't do that last week, and then they definitely didn't do it this week against the Rabbitohs. So just because it happened last year doesn't mean it's going to happen again, but it's something to watch, because the Dolphins have had a pretty similar trajectory every year they've been in the competition, where they look really, really good in the first half of the year and then really start to slip. That has happened ever since they've come into the competition. Every single year has been pretty similar. Every single year. Actually, let's go back here to 2020. Was it 22 they came into the competition? No, it was 23. 2023 was when the Dolphins came into the competition in round 15. Well, to be fair, they were in 11th position there. In round 14, they were in 8th position, though. So they were in the top 8, and by the end of the season, they obviously finished in 13th position. That was their first year in the competition. And then in 2024, they finished the comp in 10th position. At this point of the year, they were actually in 4th position. They were in the top 4 in 2024 in round 15, and they finished in 10th position. So that's 2 consecutive years where they had that drop-off. And then in round 15 of last year, they were in 6th position. And then by the end of the season, the Dolphins were in 9th position. And we all know how significant that drop-off was in the second half of the year. So that's why it's definitely a conversation that is legitimate to have about the Dolphins having a similar year to their previous 3 years in the competition. But also, we can't just expect it based off of what we've seen in the past. Let's move down now. Ash Klein says, did you see the articles on how Klein is a gambling problem? Yes, we just spoke about that pretty in depth. They should have gone with Rex, the devil, just how you said it. What are you talking about? Week game is a bit of a worry, but the Finns should be able to get the job done. They really should be able to. Little Busby says, Ashley Klein gambling problems. Ooh, we've got a lot of people getting timed out here. A lot of people getting timed out here. I don't know what is happening over there. I have no idea what's happening over there, to be fair. Nate says, g'day, Jess. Fuller and Savala for tries. Hey, Nate, what we thinking today? Fuller and Savala, I really do. I do think that was a pretty sneaky bet that someone was suggesting before of Herbie Farnworth first, second, or third, plus the Dolphins 13 plus. Not a bad shout. Not a bad shout there at all. Laurie says, hopefully not like the Broncos last night. They're facing the way of catching the ball. Yeah, no, they're trying to innovate the game by catching the ball with their back. Captain Tipshit says, I've seen this movie before. I'll take my chance on the Roosters. I love it. You know, this is what I was saying before. My head's telling me Dolphins, but I'm aware of what the Roosters can do. Yeah, Daniel Tupou is missing as well, Barnes. Good point. I'm aware of what the Roosters can do for sure. So that's why I'm going to tip the Dolphins. I think that is the right tip based off of what should be happening here, but that doesn't mean that it will happen. Derek says, hi, bro, and how good was the Titans last week? Mate, Derek, mate, best team in the world. May never lose a game ever again. Derek, let's be serious now. Again, we say this every week, and we're going to say this every week. Let's be serious on a deeply serious channel. The Titans may never lose a game ever again, Derek. Come on. Come on. Jeremy says, hopefully Herbie puts on a clinic tonight. Zesby says, who's your try scorers? I'm going Herbie Farnworth for sure. I'll go the big old Herbie Farnworth. Plus, I'll probably... in their forwards, so we go one in the back line, one in the forwards. I'm not exactly a great deal excited about these forwards today. Maybe Canelli Lemuelu steps up with no Finifuiaki. I don't think Lemuelu's been unbelievable this year on the old attack because Finifuiaki's been doing the heavy lifting there. So I'll go Lemuelu. Now that Finifuiaki's out, they might look towards his side a lot more to try and get something going. So I'll go Herbie and Lemuelu. And then for the Roosters, Cody Ramsey in fullback, Rex Bassingthwaite. They've got a really, really inexperienced or relatively underwhelming 2 through 5 here. Cody Ramsey's got experience, but he's also in the fullback. You got Savala, Daly Cherry Evans. I'm gonna back in Rex Bassingthwaite on debut here. I'm gonna back in Rex. I'm going to go with a winger because this 1 through 7 is very difficult to pick out a try scorer here today for the Roosters. So I'll go Rex Bassingthwaite. And then in regards to the forwards, they've got a pretty strong forward pack. Their forward pack is pretty intact minus Lindsay Collins. Minus Lindsay Collins and Victor Radley, I guess. I guess that Reece Robson's still part of the forwards. So Connor Watson is starting here. Angus Crichton's been relatively disappointing so far this season. Siwa Wong, I don't know. Nafahu White's been a machine. I don't like to back in props, but Jess, who did I predict last week for the Storm? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go with the big Nafahu White. Let's go with the big Nafahu. Yeah, I'm going to go Nafahu White. Sue me, son. Sue me. I'm taking Nafahu White in the props for the Roosters, and then I'll go Rex Bassingthwaite for the back line. What a rugby league name, by the way. And then for the Dolphins, like I said, Herbie Farnworth and also Corneli Lemuelu on the basis that they'll maybe go more his side now. More his side now that Finifuiaki can't do the heavy lifting. Right, this is 400k, seriously. Yes, this is what's been spoken about. Jess says, good morning. Get around you, Jess. Barnes says, Tupou was missing as well. Jess said, I already read that comment. Ryan says, Texas Tech quarterback Braden Sorsby took the NCAA to court after going to counseling for his gambling problems. Now teams are talking about boycotting games versus Texas Tech. Took the NCAA to court after going to counseling for his gambling problems. Now teams are talking about boycotting games versus Texas Tech. But how is he suing the NCAA for his decision in regards to gambling? Especially when he would have signed a contract that is illegal to gamble on the NCAA. and illegal to gamble on any football. Surely he hasn't won that bet. That bet. Surely he hasn't won that court case there. Surely not. The game is about to get started here. Todd Smith is going to be the referee. Game and Mel getting around it. Hello. Nate says good luck. Yes. Jack takes the 26-12 to the Dolphins. Peter says, I saw people talking about making half-price tickets when players are in Origin camp. It's just not going to happen, though. Sure. Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, but it's just not going to happen. Hungry Before Dinner says more points this year in all games anyway. Yeah, for sure. But all right, they will kick this ball off, and it will be the Roosters kicking off to the Dolphins, and Francis Molo is going to take this ball up to the 15 on first tackle. Guys, do me a favour, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you are new around here, and let's get into this game. Hopefully it's a good one. And it kills a good evening. Get around here. Second tackle now for the Dolphins at the 25. Brocky with the $15 return donation. Get on your Brocky. Says, what do you think about the client gambling from Mr. Streamer? So appreciate your donation, Brocky. I'll advise you to go back to about 15 minutes ago on this stream. I went pretty in-depth in it. I'm not going to go heavily in-depth into it again, but we did speak about it for quite a length whilst providing as respectful an opinion as I possibly can. So thank you very much for your donation. But yeah, we have already spoken about it, man, and you'll be able to go back and have a listen to that full conversation. So the Dolphins will complete that set, and they'll bring it out to the 15. Laurie says, Marky Mark, good try. Brashen's playing tonight. I don't know what you just said. Tiger Hoods, I've got Jermaine Sarker for a double. Jess says, I wanted to order an Arrow shirt from yesterday, but they won't do international shipping. It's crazy. That's crazy, especially to England, of all places. I would have definitely assumed that they would be doing it to England. I know they don't send anything to Vietnam, but they do send it to England. Funnily enough, I can actually order something to Kazakhstan. I'm going to Kazakhstan next month, so funnily enough, I can order rugby league stuff to Kazakhstan, but I can't to Vietnam. Forward tackle now at the 45 of the Roosters. Siwa Wong with the ball. He'll roll it back to Connor Watson. He'll go to Nafahu White, and Nafahu White's going to bring this ball to the 45 on fifth tackle on the Dolphin side of the field. Jaden says, oh no, not the redhead ref. UK says, cheer, bro. Timmy says, no way the Finns lose against Fraud Alert. Well, the Dolphins have been on Fraud Alert at times this year too, mind you, especially after that loss to Manly. It's not like they don't have it in them. And again, a Roosters team that had nobody playing against the Panthers in round 2 of last year, they came in and they beat the Panthers at 11-1 underdogs. 11-1 underdogs. I don't know what they would be right now, but they were 11-1 underdogs in that game. Third tackle now at the 18 for the Dolphins. Tommy, member for 52 months. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for supporting the channel, mate. Is that including shipping? What do you mean, is that including shipping? You get around, Brocky. What a man. Timmy says, Angus Crichton being bald is actually terrifying. There's so many ball players in the game nowadays. The Sharks, they are the bald kingdom. They are, if you're a bald man, you go to Cronulla right now, which is so opposite to what you would usually expect a Cronulla local to look like. You'd usually expect them to look like Nico Hines, but now you got Will Kennedy, you got buddy Tommy Hazelton, you got players all over the place. There's more. Don't worry, their coach, Craig Fitzgibbon, there's more at the Sharks that are all bald right now. Aerodynamics, Timmy, exactly right. Sharks, I'd like to see them be a bit more consistent with those aerodynamics. Third tackle now for the Roosters. They'll beat the 40 on their own side of the field. My try scorers were Herbie Farnworth, Kanila Lemuelu, Rex Bassingthwaite, Nafahu White, great run, and Nafahu White. So 45 metres out on fourth tackle. Cam Mel says, who do you think will win this one? I'm going Dolphins, but I'm aware that what the Roosters can do. Cody Ramsey's away here. Cody Ramsey right through the line. He'll be at the 25-foot tackle. It's a good start. They are winning the field position battle of the early 4 minutes in this game. Sherry Evans is going to put that ball out to the right. Savala watching on. Knock on here from the Dolphins, and Rex Bassingthwaite is going to catch this ball, and it's going to be 0 tackle at the 8. Roosters, the ones on the attack early here. Oh, is it going to be a boil over? Is it going to be a boil over here? What was the odds for this? I actually don't even know what the odds would have been. First tackle out to 5. Trindle as well. Yeah, Trindle, another bald man, absolutely flying. They go to Chance here for Celeste Faketi, and he's going to be 2 minutes out from the line. Second tackle. Back to Connor Watson now. They go to Sherry Evans. Sherry Evans gives it up to Savala, and Savala back into the 5'8 today. He's been great in the centres this year for mine, but he's back into the 5'8 today, so it's going to be interesting to see him get back into that position. Connor Watson at Sherry Evans. The Roosters are asking some good questions at the moment. Right through the line, Roosters. Try time. Try time for Salesi Focchetti, and the Roosters will start this game with a bang. And anyone who was thinking Dolphins 13 plus, you're going to be having a little bit of a squirm right now as you're watching this. A little bit of a squirm. Try type for Celestia Facchetti. Well, she wasn't expecting that for the Chooks. This is what I'm saying, Brenton. We've seen it before. We can see it again. We've seen it before, and we're maybe about to see it again, but it's still only... There's 75 minutes to go. You're only 5 minutes gone, but it's a great sign here for the Chooks. He's still moving. He's still moving. There's no way it's still moving. Ryan says he won his case. The NCAA suspended him. Then a Texas Tech alumni judge was appointed to the case, then found that because he took matters into his own hands, he was just given a 2-game suspension. Deary me. That sets a really strange precedent, though. No, this is not a double movement for mine. He's still moving. Billy Burns goes bald next. Yeah, back it. Oh, there's no way. No, there's no way. This is a try. I can't believe they're going to take this off him. Because we're going to the bunker. Because they're going to the bunker, they are going to say this is a double movement. I really don't feel like this should be double movement common sense-wise. He's got his hand on his pants there. Like, on a technical black and white ruling, they're going to call this a no try, but I really think this is harsh. As long as he keeps his hand on him, I really think that's super harsh to call this as a no try, but they're going to call it as a no try. No, he does have his hand on him still there, Francis Molo. It's a technical black and white ruling here. On a black and white ruling, it is a no try, but it's just common sense doesn't prevail there at all. But it is a black and white ruling for a no try, which is the correct call. However, I believe that should have definitely been a try, but black and white says otherwise. Olivia Reed with the $8 donation says, hi all, I'm babysitting tonight, but I'm keen for some footy. Kids are in bed already though. I'm relaxing with dinner and wine. You're going to need it, that wine after last night, to be fair, Olivia. God bless you. We're the Broncos, but I appreciate you for the $8 donation. The try scorer was Celestia Facchetti, but it was a no try, so there was no try scorer. Yeah, look, I think that's atrocious too, Captain Dipshit, but it is technically on a black and white ruling. It is technically the correct call. Brocky says this is a try all day. Oh, I think it should have been. Second tackle at the 25, but the fact that it's a black and white ruling, you just have to agree with it. You do. Edson says, can someone explain double movement? Like, I always thought double movement is where you go down and back off at the try. So basically, if a player is grabbing you and you've come down to the ground with the ball-carrying arm, so his arm has touched the ground there, and Francis Molo has a grab of his shorts, which is just like, it's so sad to say that's a tackle, but he's got a hand on his shorts, and because he's then... Like, in the momentum of it all, he has then got up and put the ball down because nobody thinks he's getting tackled there because Francis Molo isn't... I really debate that that's a tackle. But again, because he's got his hand on him and he's grabbing his shorts, he's not able to progress the ball, which he did progress the ball. I just debate that's even a tackle. Good day to all your new greatest mod. Yeah, Seb Watson, new moderator, obviously helps us out with those FIFA World Cup streams when a little bit early for our Australian moderators and whatnot. So Seb Watson, unfortunately, we've now got an English moderator. God bless him. God bless us all. We've now got a Pom as a moderator here on the channel. Oh my gosh, how are we going to survive? Spencer Leniu is going to bring this ball here to the 22. Not a great set here for the Roosters at all. And now Savala's going to bang this ball away. He's got a good bird on him, but it'll only go to the 35, where they bring this one out through to Vita Nafahu to the 45 on their own side of the field. First tackle. Oh, that seems like a rough call, to be honest. Do they usually call those types of tries off movement or no? Yeah, they do, because it is, again, a black and white calling. I don't agree with the call, but it is technically a black and white calling. So second tackle now for the Dolphins. They're going to be at the 42. Now third tackle. Third tackle for the Dolphins at the 40. Glass says it's because momentum didn't take him over the line. No, again, I agree. This is the thing. It's a really hard conversation to have because black and white is the correct call. But I just think common sense. I don't think that's a tackle from Francis Molo, and I really think that that's a pretty weak way to call it. But with that being said, it is technically the right call. Fifth tackle now at the 15. Fifth tackle with the Dolphins. They're going to be 15 metres away from the line. Jake says, when do I get mod? The day the Newcastle Knights win the premiership, mate. How about that? And the Roosters, that's no promise, by the way. That's no promise. I'm just taking a piss. Love you, Jake. Appreciate you for tuning into the streams, but there's no promises involved there. But how about this? The day that the Newcastle Knights win 5 premierships in a row, we'll give you moderator. So third tackle now for the Roosters, and they're going to be at the 25 on their own side of the field. English mods, it's what everyone wants. It's what nobody wants. Oh, that's a high tackle. That's a high tackle. Wow, they haven't called that. That was heavy contact from Francis Molo. Forward tackle, now fit tackle here for the Roosters, and they'll be at the 35 on their own side of the field. Edson says diversity. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay, in regards to Seb Watson. People don't realise the Dolphins get this ball here at 10, and they'll bring this out to probably about the 25 through Trey Fuller. That's exactly what they do on first tackle. They don't realise when you're a moderator, you can't just sit there and enjoy the stream as, I guess, everybody else who's not a moderator does. Like, it does have the responsibility that you've got to time people out. And yes, you get that that sense of power with the ability to time people out and whatnot. But you do have a responsibility to look at the chat and to make sure that it's all in line. And it's not as easy to just sit back and watch a stream when you do have to keep an eye on it. So some people who want it, they don't realise that it's not as enjoyable, but some people love it. And I think our moderators here love it. They love that power, slapping them down, lag and ball sacks, time them out. Seb, it's a responsibility. Whoever's a new moderator must use their timeout immediately upon seeing lagging. So when you see lag and ball sacks arrive in the chat, you have to time them out for 5 minutes. Mods are refs. Exactly right, Glasser. Exactly right. But luckily for our mods, they're allowed to gamble on... I shouldn't do that. It's a sad situation. Third tackle now at the... I think it's the 28 on their own side of the field. It is. Corruption in the mods. Let's not go down this path. It is a sad conversation. 40-20 attempt here. Oh, it's not going to have the angle on it, though, and it'll come to the 20 for Trey Fuller to grab it. And Trey Fuller looking for a hole, but it'll be taken down to the 33 on first tackle. If I get mod, I will win the premiership by myself. Yeah, well, I'm too scared of that happening, mate, so we're probably not going to do that. I'm too scared of that myself, and I think we're all too scared of that, so I need to make sure the Titans win the premiership. So, that's unfortunate, man. Herbie Farnworth has quite literally slipped over. It's black and white call again, but he has slipped over, and as he's on the grass, he's been contacted with high there. 10 minutes gone in the first half, 30 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Like, there's quite literally nothing wrong with what Celeste Fikett's doing there. It's just super unfortunate that Herbie Farnworth has slipped ahead of the tackle. Someone says, haven't had one yet, but it's what Jay would have wanted. Yeah, once Lagan comes, you must time him out. That is, it's like a welcome to moderation that it must be a priority. UK says, when you're going to have a Māori mod? I'm pretty certain Olivia, you're not Māori, are you? I know you're Kiwi, but I don't think you're Māori, are you? Second tackle here for Francis Molo and the Dolphins. They're going to be 23 metres away from the line. 10 minutes gone. 30 minutes to go. Thumbs up, subscribe. They go to the right. Isai Katoa, Trey Fuller. And Trey Fuller's going to be 15 metres away. Third tackle. Roosters can't talk to Farnworth. His contract to the Dolphins for next year. Who's talking about that? Who's talking about Roosters going for Farnworth? Fourth tackle now, 5 minutes out. When he is available, there will be teams that are going to be trying to grab him. No, that's for sure. Felice Kafusi, looked for the offload, but he couldn't get it. Fifth tackle now 2 metres away. They go out to the back to Cody Nikarima. Poor defense here from the Roosters. Actually ended up being really good defense from the Roosters. Wow. You know what I mean, though? If you watch that as well, that was like a 3-on-2 for the Dolphins out on the left-hand side. But 1-on-1, that was really good there from Rex Bathingthwaite to lock that down. It seemed like there was plenty of space for the Dolphins to work. I think if Nikarima probably steps on the inside there, he would have got more space, and then the 2-on-1 would have happened on the wing. But he just got that ball to the wing immediately, challenged Rex, and Rex came up with flying colours. Billy Smith's second tackle is going to be at the 15. Edson says, I'm Russian. Well, there you go. I'm not Māori, no. Yeah, okay. Well, we've still got a Kiwi as a moderator. How about that? How about that for the Kiwis here? So Connor Watson's going to get this ball to the 30 on third tackle. Not too bad of a set here. Yeah, they'll get this ball to the 42 now on four tackles. So they're probably going to have about a 50-metre set here. This will really work them back into the game because they've been getting done for metres recently. Underneath to Hugo Savala. Savala's going to run this ball. It's four tackle. Okay, that was lucky. I thought that was fifth. Spencer Lenu to Cherry Evans. And Cherry Evans puts that ball to the 15. So that is a really good set there for the Roosters to get themselves out of trouble. I think it was about a 48-metre gain or so. Glenn says that was Farnworth an incorrect work rumour. Okay. Farnworth, he's going to pass that ball out to Jack Bostock. There's some space here, but great tackle from Angus Crichton to lock him down to the 20 on second tackle. Ryan says, what's been your best record in 27-0 Cast Patrol? I went 24-3. 25-2, lost the prelim, and dude, I had the most overpowered team. I had Billy Slater, Cameron Smith, Jonathan Thurston, Darren Lockyer. I had Jason Tamalolo. Who else did I have? Andrew Eddinghausen. Like, it was absolutely OP. It made absolutely no sense. Greg Inglis in the centre. It made no sense why that team would even concede a point, let alone lose a game. Oh, bad drop there from the Roosters. Tommy Talau, he will drop the ball cold with no pressure on him at the 20, and the Dolphins are going to go on the attack because of it. I like how you can see the activity on here, can see exactly as a Muppet. Yeah, that's what Jay used to always do, man. That's what Jay used to always do. The first thing he'd do is go into the history. First thing. Walkinshaw says, is Ashley Klein's serious gambling debts legit, or is that just fake AI news? I believe it is true. It has come from the Morning Herald. I don't think they would make that kind of accusation without having some pretty concrete evidence behind it. Yeah. Anyway, we spoke quite heavily about it earlier on the stream, so we won't go too deep into it now. Jacob says, do you think the players will start purposely diving to get hit high? Will refs call them out for faking? The ref can't do anything about them faking and slipping over and diving to receive a high tackle, because if it's a high tackle, it's a high tackle. Oh, wow, good hit there from Angus Crichton. He's looking good defensively today. But if they get the offload away to Marshall King at the 10, he'll get it back to Felice Kafusi, and Felice Kafusi is going to be at the 8 on first tackle. First tackle now. They go to the left with Sai Katoa. Katoa now. That's going to be a drop ball from Farnworth, but luckily it goes backwards. Second tackle at the 18. They go out to Sai Katoa. Then it's going to be Morgan Knowles, who just palms through Sherry Evans at the 10. Third tackle. Been impressive not to see a 6 again so far in this game. I don't think we've seen a single 6 again across the first 14 minutes. Dolphins back underneath. Great cut down tackle there from the Roosters. Nafahu wide at the 5. Marshall King out of the left-hand side. Asai Katoa is going to run this ball through himself, and he will score. That's a great dummy. That's a great dummy there from Asai Katoa, and it's going to be 4-0 here with a kick to come to the Dolphins. 4-0 here with a kick to come to the Dolphins. The kick. UK says Sharks aren't winning, boy. Well, they beat the Warriors already this season, boy. Mitchell says can't go undefeated with Esam Masters and Moses Mbite. Yeah, Mitchell, you're going to go on timeout for reminding me that Esam Masters does exist. It'll only be a 1 minute, but it's just going to be a little bit of a warning shot for you for reminding me that he exists. Snaky Game says, yeah, I had a very mid team and ended up winning it, and I had pretty much the Queensland 7 in a row team and lost back-to-back in the finals. Just crazy, eh? Crazy. I don't really understand it. But a try confirmed here for the Dolphins. Nice little dummy there from Asai Katoa. Oh, I don't know what was, the hat's gone there, but try time for Asai Katoa, and the Dolphins lead 4-0 with the hit to come. There's also a book. Plenty of books. Up to Finn says, let's go to boys. Bunch of nosy Parker mods. Be careful cracking into them. I've never eaten a dolphin before. Also don't know why that's a comment in the chat right now. To be fair, Cherry Evans had to make that play. If he had got that ball away to Kennedy Lemuelu, he would have scored if Cherry Evans doesn't make that play. I don't blame Ches for his defense there. I think that the Roosters were just done for numbers on that side, and Isai Katoa knew that they had to bite off on the players on the outside because it was going to be a 4-3 regardless. Brocky says, try time, bing bong, mada bish. Never met a woman named Edson. I've never met anybody named Edson before. Okay. Yeah, chat's going a little bit weird right now. Isako, most points at Suncorp Stadium. He's actually second behind Corey Parker on 750. He's on 723, and you can make that 725. So he's only 25 points away from taking the all-time record for most points ever scored at Suncorp. It's a big stat because Suncorp is an absolute, big-time ground for the historical records of this game. It is the mecca of rugby league, so that's a pretty impressive stat to hold. Edson is in another chat, Biff. Shocking. Edson, why do you try to fight everybody in our chat all the time? That's my question. Is it because the Broncos are losing? Is that why? Do you just you want to take it down on everybody else because your team's losing or something? Imagine if Edson was like a Tigers or a Titans or... Oh, he's lost the ball, as he'd know it's first tackle of the Dolphins, the 15. Imagine if you had to support a team at the bottom of the table on a frequent basis. Like, the bro won a grand final last year. He's picking fights with everybody. Timmy says, I've never drank 0.5 gallons of strawberry milk in one sitting on a Tuesday in 2005. That's extremely specific. Third tackle now at the 30. And they go Trey Fuller. And they'll be getting the offload away to Isai Katoa. Isai Katoa off to Oren Keeley. And Keeley's going to be at the 45 on fourth tackle. Chat's going a bit weird. I'll fix it. I don't know if you're the one to be fixing it, Benny. Soon you'll start going down the conspiracy route. And fit tackle, Marshall King, 6 again. Just so speaking about there's no 6 against in the game. Well, there's a 6 again here for the Dolphins on fit tackle too. 20 metres away here from the line. No, Klein's not refereeing today. It is Todd Smith. Second tackle here for the Dolphins now at the 13. A chance of back-to-back tries immediately. The Roosters obviously down on troops. 3 of their spine players out. They'll struggle on the attack, and their defense has been coming up pretty well so far, but at the moment they may be about to go down by 2 tries. 4 tackle, 5 metres out. Jack Bostock. He's going to roll it back to Oren Keeley, then on to Isai Katoa. Katoa's going to kick this ball through. That's played out. That's 6 again. That's 6 again here. They're at the 20, at the 15. They may not even call the 6 again. I'm pretty certain it should be. I think that was played out. No restarted set. Okay, I would have probably said that was a set restart for putting his leg out, but they've said that still fit tackle, and the Roosters will get this ball here at the 3 on first. The Broncos 1 loss away from the glue factory. I don't know if they're 1 loss away from it, man. They've lost to last and second last in the last 2 weeks, and then they went and got Papamundos by the Rabbitohs by 48 points yesterday. So 1 loss away is pretty generous of you. You're a generous man, Glazer. Generous man. 4 tackle for the Roosters there at the 13. They are struggling for metres right now. They got a Nafahu White. They need something here, and he'll get some post-contact to at least bring them to the 23. It's a good run from Nafahu. It's what you would expect from him. Jacob says, it always seems so deliberate with these refs from these momentum swings. Controversial conversation to have as we speak. But Trey Fuller, wow, he just got absolutely annihilated. I think that was... Well, it was Angus Crichton was there, but who was the other one? I think it might have been Spencer Leniu with the other hit underneath. Second tackle now at the 50. Kokomu says, bring back Sunny Boys. Oh, right, the Dolphins right through. Cody Ramsey saves the day as fullback, but the Dolphins are 15 metres away from the line. Third tackle. Here they come. They go out to the left. It is Marshall King. Isai Katoa. Quick passing. Nikorima gives it out to Herbie Farnworth, and that's a try for Herbie Farnworth in the corner. It is 10-0 with a kick to come. The Roosters, they just don't have it right now in regards to the defence. They're just getting it put past them, and they're not making enough metres. They're putting pressure under themselves by not making enough metres coming out of their own line, and the Dolphins are finding it way too easy here. Way too easy at the moment. Big fan of Terry Rozier, that Klein bloke. That's ball knowledge. That's ball knowledge. But as soon as the Dolphins broke through there, all they need to do is go down that left-hand side, and that's exactly what they do, and it's just going to be way too easy for them. The rush up from Billy Smith, he kind of had to anyway, and Cherry Evans would have had Nick Rima covered, but there's no way Cherry Evans was getting across to Farnworth, and he'll score in the corner. Yeah, old mate's Bet's off to a good start. Yeah, you're right. Ash Klein, I don't think you should be talking about Betts right now in the chat, though. Benny West says, Herbie goes bananas, good player. He's the best centre in the game. He's the best centre in the game. How good is fan cam, eh? The World Cup fan cam, unbelievable. And now this fan cam, unbelievable. Glass says, Rooster Steve's been pretty average this season. Yeah, 100%, man. You know, if we go back, so 20 minutes gone in the first half, guys, 20 minutes to go of the first half. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe for new round tier. Don't forget, we've got about 5 streams on the channel tomorrow with FIFA World Cup plus Rugby League. But the Roosters this year, 250 points against, surprises you. Because you say the Roosters defensively haven't been great this year. I want to lure you in with a little bit of a false sense of security there, because the Roosters have only given up 250. So the only teams that are better than them defensively so far this year, now the Dolphins would go above them, but going into this game, were the Panthers and the Warriors. They were equal with Manly at 250, but again, they're a game behind. And then the Dolphins were only 3 points behind them, and that's it. But ultimately, they're still in the top 6. Now putting the Dolphins in front of them, because the Roosters will go from 250 to 262, because it's 12-0 to the Dolphins now. So the Roosters will go to 262. The Dolphins haven't conceded a try, so they're still 253. And they are now going to be below the equal Manly Seagulls, so they are going to be in 5th on the defense. But again, if the Roosters were to lose this game by 52 points or more today, they will go below the Newcastle Knights. They will already go below the Dolphins. They won't go below the Rabbitohs because they'll still be 2 points short of them, but the Rabbitohs have a bye next week. And if the Sharks beat the Warriors, they would go above them too. So the Roosters would go from a very convincing third position about, 5 weeks ago, just before Magic Round 4 or 5 weeks ago, very convincing third position to dropping potentially to 8th position. The only team, or 7th position, the only team that would be below them still on that area would be the Rabbitohs if they were to lose by 52 points. So a big, big margin would be needed, but off to a good start here for the Dolphins at 12-0. You've got to be careful about it. That's another 40 points from here, but it's entirely possible what the Dolphins can do. And Trey Fuller's going to bring this ball to the 45 on the Roosters side of the field. Fit tackle now. Brocky says, try time, bing bong, mada bish. Bing bong, mada bish. Seb Watson says, at least the show ponies should win 2 out of the next 4. Have they got 2 buys, have they? Herbie Farnworth is going to throw that offload. They're away again here. It's Sarko, 15. It's fit tackle. Back to Jack Bostock. Jack Bostock moving around. It's fit tackle. Kicks it through. Awful kick. But he just had to get the ball away. And it will be the Roosters who grab the ball at 13 on first tackle. Levi says, yep, this comp is close. One bad game and you can go from top 4 to out of the 8 just like that. Look at the Cowboys. Cowboys were top 4. And look, the Cowboys do have 8 wins to their name, which is equal with the Manly Seagulls and the Roosters and the Knights right now. But the Cowboys' big loss last week does bring them back to the pack there of the 7 wins Rabbitohs, the 7 wins Dolphins, and the 7 wins Sharks. And if the Sharks and the Dolphins both win this week, well, they're both on 8 wins themselves, and that really good record the Cowboys had that they were waiting for their buys to come. But the thing is that the buys are only worthwhile if the teams lose. You need those teams to lose for the buys to actually, matter, because the Sharks and the Cronulla and, that's a 40-20 attempt here, but it's knocked back in field there from Tavita Nafahu, and he'll get this ball out of the end goal. That was a really good kick there from Cherry Evans, but they'll be taken down to the 5 on first tackle. Need to fire up some defense now, Roosters, and keep them down here. But again, the Sharks are on 7 wins, the Dolphins are on 7 wins, and the Cowboys are on 8 wins. Cowboys have a bye this week. Sharks by the Warriors, if they win that game and the Dolphins go on to win this game against the Roosters, they're both on the 8. The Knights, the Roosters, and also Manly are on 8 wins as well. So the fact is that it would be a lot more of an even standing point, and their ladder position would make a lot more sense, the Cowboys. And again, their ladder position makes sense anyway, because their attack going into, I don't know if about this week, but their attack going into last week was the 9th best attack and the 9th best defense. So they were exactly where they should be. But I think last week would have skewed that with their massive 40-14 loss to the Redcliffe Dolphins. Was it 40-14 or 14-4? I can't remember. Roosters get this ball to the 25 on first tackle. You're going to stream White House? No, I'll be live for the FIFA World Cup. Plus also, I've got like 6 streams on Sunday, man. I unfortunately can't do it. We've got Australia versus Turkey. We've got Titans versus Tigers. It's going to be a massive day. Plus, we've got Brazil versus Morocco. Oh my gosh, that's going to be such an awesome game to watch. I think we've got Switzerland, Qatar, which isn't spectacular. But it's funny, the bigger the teams, the less viewers we get because of the competition, but the lower ranked the teams, we're getting pretty good. Like, for example, we had 31,000 people watch the stream this morning for South Korea versus, to the right side of the Roosters, Billy Smith to the 40, to the 35, it'll be fit tackle. And for South Korea and Czechia, we had 31,000, 32,000 people tune in for that one. So the lower. And Roosters chasing it through, and that's going to be fine. Trey Fuller will get the ball, but he'll be taken down to the 3 on first tackle. So no, I won't have the time to do the White House, man. We are very consistent with this FIFA World Cup and also Rugby League. Rugby League. Glasses, Bangladesh versus Oz. Yeah, no, don't know about that one. I would have heart palpitations watching that absolute dribble. I would. You guys know when I'm streaming cricket, I'm very passionate for Australia. If I watched that ODI series between Australia and Bangladesh right now, I'd probably punch myself in my own forehead repeatedly. Ash, has any plans to stream the UFC White House? No, unfortunately not. Oh, that's on Monday morning. Anyway, I've still got 5 FIFA World Cup streams that I'm doing, I think, on Monday morning. All right, so the Roosters, they'll get this ball to Cody Ramsey at the 15, to the 20, to the 25. The game is still there, provided they score next, but if they concede next and go down 18-0, I just don't know if they'll be able to get back into this game with the players they do have on the field. Roosters now get this ball to the 30. Completions 9 for 11 is actually pretty good for the Roosters considering where they usually are. They're the most error-ridden team in the competition, statistically, by the way, not just opinion-based. That's a high tackle. He's hit him across the head there. Siwa Wong should actually, he should have milked that because it was high, but they don't call it. Connor Watson to Nafahu White, and Nafahu White will push this ball to the 40 on fourth tackle. I also picked up Inakunda. Yeah, look, great stuff. Love that. Love that. Nat Butcher to the 50 on fit tackle. Dolphins are such a potent attacking side. Not really, funnily enough, anymore. They earn their right to attack, and when they attack, they can be potent, but that's not their highest emphasis. Their emphasis is their defense now, compared to last year. Levi says, FIFA is going to be great for your streaming platform. You're going to get plenty of viewers and hopefully tons more subscribers. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I just love football and I just love sport. Oh, that's going to be an injury here for Reece Foley. He's going to have to come off for a HIA here. God bless him. Reece Foley has gone down in a big old tackle and he doesn't know where he is. He'll have to come up to the field for a HIA, which means his first half is done at the very least. Bad tackling technique, unfortunately. Yeah, it's not even about that. Like, obviously, it's great to have more people here and the chat involvement, the banter, and that South Korea vs Czechia game was so much fun to stream, but it's not even really about that, man. I love it. Don't get me wrong. We want to continue to grow this channel, and it will with what we're saying at the moment, but it's not the highest emphasis. Who's took 17 on the wing? That'd be Rex Bassingthwaite. Rex Bassingthwaite. Edson, he's going back at Nate. Edson, there's got to be something wrong with you. All you do is, buddy, pick fights in the chat. Reece Foley, why is he still on the field? Why is he still on the field? Why is he still on the field? Why is Reece Foley still on the field? Finally, he's been taken off. Why has he been taken off? Yeah, bye came at a good time for Manly with one of the teams, Rooster and Dolphins, to lose. It's a good buffer for us this week. Who do Manly play next week? Calling 100k subs after the World Cup. I'd like to get to 50k, but by the end of the NRL finals, really. I'm not even thinking about 100k, but 50k by the NRL finals would be nice. This is a nice number. Third tackle, Tom Gilbert nearly drops it, but they'll be at the 40 now on fourth tackle. So much for duty of care. Took him long enough. Yeah, I can't believe it. At least they took him off compared to players in the past who've been on the field for a good 5 minutes before coming off. Do you have a chosen winner for FIFA? I'm going with the heavyweight, but still kind of an outsider with England. I'm still taking Spain with Oyarzabal and Lamine Yamal. I think they're going to be fantastic, and I think they've got a great team. Across the park, bit of Rodri action. And now Bassingthwaite brings his ball to the 20 on first tackle. Manly have Bulldogs next. A very winnable game. Definitely should be winning that game. If you believe that you are the team that you've been playing like for the last 8 or so weeks, then you should be beating the Bulldogs quite comprehensively, really. They were awful. That Monday game might have been the worst game I've ever watched on a quality level, as like from both teams' levels. It was so bad. It was really, really bad. 6 again for the Roosters. They'll be their first 6 again here of their game. Their first 6 again, not the Dolphins. Unfortunate for Reece Foley. His debut is over. Category 1 Category 1 concussion. So Reece Foley, unfortunately, will not be back here today for the Roosters on debut. God bless him. Third tackle out to 45. And they go to... Here we go. Here's a chance. Zavala, then off to Angus Crichton, and they're going to be at the 20. Fourth tackle. Okay, Roosters, you get a try here, and the game is well and truly on, despite the momentum and the domination that we've seen from the Dolphins since that first no try for the Roosters. See Wong, he's going to get this ball to the 10 on fit tackle. This is a big, big chance here. 57-metre game for the Sydney Roosters. Cherry Evans kicks his ball across. Good chance. Great chance. Cody Ramsey. I don't know who this has touched. Is this a dropout or is this a 7-tackle set? No, I think it's a Ramsey knock-on, so it's going to be a 7-tackle set coming up. Yeah, so it is going to be a 20-metre tap. Cody Ramsey gets his hand to it first, but Jermaine Sarko just came in underneath to prevent him from getting that catch. Foley should have gone off the second he got checked by the trainer. Yes, 1,000,000%. Yeah, Manly will still need to play better than recent weeks. Still shouldn't take the Dogs for granted, even though they've been awful. Yeah, absolutely not. The Dogs are at a desperation time of the season. They need to just keep on winning. There's nobody who watched that Dogs game, even as a Dogs fan, who could have watched that and said against the Eels that they were convincing enough in that game to show that they're any better than a bottom 4 team right now. You know, they're well earning of their spot. They're actually quite high, considering they're in 5th last now compared to being a 3rd last beforehand. Right-hand side, 4th last beforehand. 5th tackle out the 20. And they go out to the left with Saikatoa. Puts that ball up to the 5. Good take by Cody Ramsey. Too easy for him. It'll be first tackle at the 9. Joshua Layton says, our NRL game is being carved up and sold to separate TV networks will drive up your subs. Well, that is true. I don't know if the NRL is going to allow that. I think that is the rumours, but I think Peter V'landys and the NRL are going to play them. And I think they know that, but I think it's going to be a play just to get the best deal where you will see, like, 7 are coming to the party, 7 want to partner up. It's great for the game in regards to the financial success of it and the growth of it financially, but obviously it's a concern for the NRL fans. So I'm thinking on the more positive side and pleading that doesn't happen. Like, it's not about subscribers to me, man. It's about the growth of the game and how quality the game is. You know, sure, you're right, but it's not about that for mine. I would rather see you guys being able to watch the game alongside me rather than you being forced to come to me because you've got no other way to watch the game for free. Joshua says, I already read that comment. Second tackle now for the Dolphins. They're going to be at the 20. 10 minutes to go here the first half, guys. 12-0 to the Dolphins. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. Do you agree that the Wars have the best forward pack this season? It's pretty hard to go past the Panthers, man. But sure, they're definitely top 2 and you can make a conversation from both sides. Oh, no, there's another HIA coming up here for the Roosters. Oh, it's Hugo Savala. You don't want to lose him, man. Not only are you down on players massively in this game, but now you're going to lose Hugo Savala for this half at the very least. God bless him. Best 4 packs the Tigers, Edson says. Let's settle down. I'd say the Tigers are a pretty good shot for a top 4, though. I'm not having them above the Panthers or the Warriors, but I would say that the Tigers are a top 4 forward pack when fully healthy. Terrell May. You've also got Apisai Koroisau, you've got Samuela Faina, you've got Kai Pearce-Paul, you've got Alex Twell, and Royce Hunt running off the bench there for limited minutes, I guess. It's not Alex Twell's not there 13. He's the forward pack. He's the front rower, isn't he now? Or is he back? Is he still the 13? I can't remember. Who am I missing from that Tigers 4 pack right now? I'm missing someone. Tigers 4 pack is pretty solid, but not the best. I'd say you could argue that it's top 4. You could make the significant argument for it. And they've got some pretty good depth there in the forwards. Pole, okay. Pole, he tries hard. I wouldn't exactly say he's spectacular, but he tries hard. I do think that the rest of them do kind of really pick up a little bit of the slack there, but he's been solid. He's been fine. And this is going to be Hugo Savala coming up for a HIA. The Roosters down on troops in this game, and they're getting even more outs. Reece Foley will not be back. I think Hugo Savala might be back, but he won't be back for the first half. Google has Wars, Storm, Panthers best packs this year. Well, I'm not listening to Google when it says the Storm are in the best packs this year. This is why you don't trust Google, man. Melbourne Storm being in the best packs this year is a disgrace. It is a disgrace. You're telling me that Stefano Tuikamanu, Josh King, who else? I can't even think right now. Stefano Tuikamanu, Josh King. You've also Angus Crichton now gets his ball to the 40 on fit tackle. Obviously, you can add in Harry Grant there into the 9. Not that he's been unbelievable, but he is the best hooker in the game. Sherry Evans is going to blast that ball up high. Roosters chase this ball through. That's going to be, I think, a knock on here for the Dolphins. 6 again. Roosters with the ball. They get the offload away. Roosters, that's a great chance here. 0 tackle, 5 metres away from the line. 0 tackle, 5 metres away. If they score here, it's massive. Big chance here for the Chooks. It's 0 tackle again with another 6 again. Another 6 again here. Wowee. They go at the back to Sherry Evans. Off to Nat Butcher. And Nat Butcher's going to be at the 10. So who's going to be the 5'8 now with Savala going out? Because Savala is obviously picking it up because... And Sherry Evans is the 7. Sherry Evans is usually the 7 and Sam Walker... Sorry, Sherry Evans is usually the 6 and Sam Walker the 7. But who comes into the 6 now? Is it Connor Watson? Oh, that's a knock on Dolphins. Luckily enough here for the Roosters, it'll be a knock on for the Dolphins here. Yeah, ball goes back for Roosters. It'll be a knock on Dolphins. So the Roosters will bring this ball out of the 10. Trent Liero, yeah. Slavko, there's no way that I would have the Storm anywhere close to this year having the one of the best 4 backs. Google says Cherry Evans is a young man. Does it really? Yeah, no, he's a young whippersnapper, the old. Yeah, can you hear that festival now? Yeah, no, it's loud, mate. It is loud. 7 minutes 44 to go here. So again, if you guys just tuning in, if you can hear music in the background or you can hear the bass in the background, it's because there's a massive concert outside. Roosters here, right through the line. 3 minutes out from the line. Billy Smith first tackle. I think they'll call that 6 again as well. No, they don't. Nafahu White. No, it is a 6 again. I was right. Nafahu White's going to be 5 metres away here from the line on first tackle. There's a big concert just outside my room. If you follow me on Instagram at BKRsport, you would have seen that on my story. Cherry Evans out to the left. Connor Watson, quick passing. Try come up surely. Good scramble defense from the Dolphins. But if you pass that ball right, you're going to have plenty of space. Angus Crichton passed the ball out wide, dude. Look at all the Dolphins defense out on this left edge. Why are you not passing that ball out to the right-hand side immediately? They go now to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans underneath. Oh, he's been absolutely whacked. He's been absolutely whacked there by Kurt Donahue. Fiji and Flyer, son. The big Fijian man, Cherry Evans, gives it off to Siwa Wong. Siwa Wong's going to run this ball straight into the line. It'll be fit tackle now, 5 metres out. There's just no real answers, the Roosters right now. They've thrown a bit at him, but the Dolphins have come up trumps. They go to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans grabs this ball through. Not a good kick there at all, and Asai Katoa's going to grab the ball. Roosters just not good enough right now. You're just not good enough as we currently speak, and it makes sense in regards to players out. But that was a perfect opportunity for you to score and bring this game within 6, but you've let it go. You've let it go. Great scramble defense from the Finns, for sure. Jack Bostock brings his ball to the 35 on third tackle. Uruguay did not win the 2026 World Cup, Timmy. Peter says, Toby Rodwell getting a chance at 5'8". Oh, yeah, Toby Rodwell probably comes on. You're probably right. But it looked to me that the number 14 here for the Roosters, which is Benai Uelu, who's come on for the 9. I think Connor Watson's gone into the 6, man. I'm pretty certain Connor Watson's been shifted into the 6 for Savala. Isai Katoa, high kick up here to the right wing for the Roosters. And Bassingthwaite, he's been pretty safe under that high ball here today. He'll get that ball to 15. Cherry Evans is Cherry Evans with a wig. It helped. Cody Ramsey, he's going to cut this ball through the middle. He'll hit the 25 on second tackle. Good little run, but overall Dolphins did well to hold him down. What a charging run here from Spencer Len. You know, Junior Tupou. Wow, he used to play for the Dolphins. Junior Tupou was at the Tigers, then he was at the Dolphins, and now he's at the Roosters. Haven't seen him in ages. Haven't seen Junior Tupou in ages. 4 tackle here at the 45 on the Dolphins side of the field. And Nat Butcher brings his ball to the 40 on fit tackle. Benai Uelu, Cherry Evans, Bassingthwaite. You're going to have to chase this one down, but it's a pretty easy one, I think, for Trey Fuller. He'll get it, but he'll be locked down at the 8 on first tackle. So the Dolphins haven't really had attacking opportunities since their little foray, their little spurt of attack that they had to score those 2 tries. The Roosters have at least done well in that regards. Sane says, I'm worried this chat is a little bit cult-like. Penalty to the Dolphins here. I'm worried this chat is a little bit cult-like. You can only fit in if you know every single stat with every game player. You need to know every single possible play, and you need to kiss BKR. You definitely kiss BKR. But what do you mean in regards to that? There is a lot of people here who don't know. No, I'm actually interested to hear this perspective and opinion from you, Sane. So what are you speaking about in regards to you need to know every single stat and what not? Because I don't believe that everybody here knows all the stats that we speak about here. We obviously read through them and whatnot, but you're completely fine to still be learning in the game and whatnot. So I'm actually really not too sure what you're talking about. First tackle now for the Dolphins at the 40. I know nothing. I'm very welcome. Exactly right, Jess. You know, Jess is a new fan over here in the NRL. She obviously comes from England and she fits in just fine. So I'm a little bit confused by that comment, to be fair. I think they're just trying to insult me. That would be the only way that makes sense, unless you come through and provide us with the real opinion as to why you said what you said. They're going to be away here. The Dolphins right to the line. They're at the 20 to the 15 and 10 metres out from the line now. Out of nothing, Ray Stones just brought something. BKRsport, exactly right. They go to Gill. Oh, that's an intercept by the Roosters there. Oh, fantastic tackle from Isai Katoa, because otherwise they were away. Tommy Talau would have been gone. He would have scored a try for sure. Crichton gives up to Billy Smith. A little bit of a hospital pass. We'll be taking down at the 30. I've actually learned a lot from Blaze. That's why I'm here. No, I appreciate that, Tigerwood. Yeah, I think that the last part of just saying kiss Blaze shows to me that it's not a legitimate comment. Third tackle here at the 40, because there are a lot of people who do not kiss me. There are a lot of people here who do go back at me, but obviously we're going to reply. Good passing here. Roosters are away. Bassingthwaite. He's away. That's going to be dropped here by the Dolphins. Cherry Evans will actually knock this ball on. It's going to be a knock on here from Cherry Evans. Oh, that was a great chance again. The Roosters are at least waking into this game here. Ash says BKR is a dictator and has us hostage in this chat. Exactly right. Yeah, I've got you all locked in, mate. Yeah, look, I'm saying if this channel's not for you, mate, and you don't know whatever you're talking about, but like if this channel's not for you, you don't have to watch it here, man. Like it is your choice to tune into this. It is your choice, but I am genuinely interested in why you have that opinion. Morgan Shaw says, I enjoy these chats. It helps keep me up to date with everything I miss. Seb says he probably one of the ops from the Tuk Tuk Wars. Hey, listen, that's just a cult response from you, Seb. That's a cult response. Metal says, Ashley Klein is here. That should tell you everything. That should tell you everything, yeah. That should tell you everything. 2.5 minutes to go here of the first half, and the Dolphins will have this ball to 15. Great couple of chances for the Roosters over the last 10 minutes, but they just can't seem to get over the line as we speak. The Dolphins bring it to the 25 now in second tackle. Thanks for the sub. Anyway, says Cherry Evans is proved. Tugwood says, oh, knock on here from the Dolphins. Oh, he's actually caught that. How has he held on to that ball there, Kurt Donahue? Damn, that is a big, big catch. And Asai Katoa's going to kick this ball away on third tackle. Intriguing kick there. So the Roosters now are going to bring this ball to the 40s. They've got good field position just off their set. Why'd they kick that ball on third? Jared, so what's your opinion on the Warriors versus Sharks game tomorrow? Looking forward to it. Difficult game to read because the Sharks did beat the Warriors in the previous game. Warriors overall have been the more consistent team this year, but they still have a game like that in them, i.e. Tigers and Sharks. But it'll be an interesting one for sure. I do feel like I'm probably going to end up tipping the Warriors at home, but it should be a good game. I think New Zealand fans who think it's going to be an easy walk in the park should remember they've already lost them so far this season, but I don't think that defines what's going to happen. Cody Ramsey, right-hand side, Bassingthwaite. I think the pass was actually not too bad. I'd like to see this again. I think Bassingthwaite was a little bit too slow to put his hand up here to grab the ball. I think he might have been a little bit too slow. Let's have a look at this again. I could be wrong. Sherry Evans, Cody Ramsey. I think he was a bit slow to put his hand up for the ball. I think the pass was on. I think that was actually on Bassingthwaite. Oh, that was a knock on there into Connor Watson. They're not going to call it, though. First tackle here at the 45 for the Dolphins. They give it across to... Oh, he's lost the ball there, so the Roosters will get it. The Roosters will get it. 45 metres out. You've got to pack the scrum and you've got to play it quickly here. 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 5, 4, 3, 2, and time is off at the 1 second mark. They'll get one play off here. They'll get one play. Really appreciate the stats and learnings here. No, I appreciate you, Glenn. Yeah, the more that the time goes on that old mate's not actually responding with his opinion, because he wasn't timed out or hidden. It was just his comment was removed from one of the mods. But the more that we're not hearing anything from his side in regards to what he's saying, and you look at the back part of that comment, it's just somebody who's just trying to have a crack. But, you know, it is what it is, man. You get these kind of people. I would have appreciated if he actually gave us a response. That's going to be... They're going to have to pack the scrum again here at the 45. Sharky's paying $3. Wilds are way too short for my liking. Yeah, don't mind it. Wilds come up to buy, should surely win that one. Buys don't necessarily mean that. Roosters are going for a 2-point field goal. Has he got that? Oh, it's a hit the post and bounced away. That was a great attempt, but also I would have gone for the try down by 12, but sure. It wasn't a bad shot there from 52 metres away from Cody Ramsey. But at least we now know that Cody Ramsey is a field goal shout for the Roosters when push comes to shove. But 12-0 here to the Dolphins. 12-0 to the Dolphins at halftime. They had a bit of a flurry at one stage in this game, but overall, it's actually been quite even in a lot of ways. It's just the Roosters aren't clinical, and the Dolphins have been able to hold out their line pretty frequently. Yeah, they've just been able to hold out their line. The Roosters haven't been clinical with it, and that's why it is 12-0. So, guys, let's get into the stats here at halftime. If you don't know these stats, well, then gee whiz, aren't you a muppet, as we've found out already in this chat. But, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's get into it. So, the Dolphins, 12, Roosters, 0 at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane. The two tries, Isaiah Katoa and Herbie Farnworth, with the conversions being 2 from 2, whilst the Roosters have not scored a try yet in this game. They missed that 2-point field goal opportunity just now. I will say as well, though, bit of a discussion point is that the Dolphins are usually a pretty good second half team, but the Roosters are also a pretty good second half team. So this might come down to maybe a little bit of a shoot off in the second half, but this is a completely different team for the Roosters. So maybe they're not going to have that in them. However, the Roosters typically are a better second half team than they are a first half outside of that Broncos game. Now we go down to the possession. 51% possession to the Dolphins, 49% possession to the Roosters. So very, very equal here. Time of possession. Wow, this is very, very, very healthy here. Unreal. This is unreal. 25 minutes is the threshold that you're looking for. 17 minutes and 6 seconds here for the Dolphins. 15 minutes and 55 seconds for the Roosters, which means the ref is ultimately staying out of this game right now. That is 32. That is over 33 minutes of gameplay you've just been able to watch. 33 minutes of gameplay you have been able to watch uninterrupted. That is fantastic stuff there. Again, 25 minutes is typically the threshold, and it's coming down to the completion rate right now. 80% is the minimum that you're looking for. The Dolphins are at 84%, 22 from 26. They're very happy with that. 84% for the Roosters, 21 from 25, just the one less set there. They're very happy with that. So both these teams are above the completion rate, and both these teams are very happy with what they're doing in regards to holding the ball, and especially for the Roosters, who are the most error-ridden team in the competition coming into this game. You go to the runs, 112 runs here to the Dolphins for 1,106 run meters, 1,106 run meters. Anything above 1,000 is always a success. They're also above 1,100. So that's very, very good. They are technically down by only the 14 meters and the 10 meters on average per run. So they are crushing these run meters. They are crushing the middle of the park right now. Whilst in comparison, you've got the Roosters at 94 runs for 844 run meters. So they are down by 96 meters and 10 meters an average per run right now. Well, again, the Dolphins are only down by 14. So even if you give those extra 18 runs to the Roosters, they're probably going to get to the 1,000-meter mark. They probably will get those... No, they probably won't get to the 1,000-meter mark. They might more so be around that 980, 970, 960. But in between 960 and 980 is probably where I would take a guesstimate there for the Roosters if they had equal ball, which would still be a good 150-odd meters behind where the Dolphins are at currently. So the Dolphins are clearly dominating this department. And the post-contact meters, now this is actually in favour of the Roosters because with an extra 20 runs now for the Dolphins at 1,120 through 114 runs to the Roosters 94, the Dolphins have 351 post-contact meters, whilst the Roosters have 320 post-contact meters. So that's a 31 post-contact meter switch. 31 post-contact meter, despite the fact that there's 20 less runs. So the Roosters are actually winning this department. It's just that they're not getting as many runs to go over the top of them there. So the Roosters at least win the post-contact. It's just the run meters are very much heavily in favour of the Dolphins on that pure metric. Then you go to the line breaks. Roosters not great defensively today. 4-1 line breaks for the Dolphins. At least they've only conceded the 2 tries though, the Chooks. Tackle breaks, 19 for the Dolphins. Probably would have expected a few more, to be fair. And 14 for the Roosters. It's above the average of missed tackles there for the Roosters and below the average of missed tackles there for the Dolphins. We're going to go to the average set distance now. And this tells you a story. And we've been saying this the whole time. The Roosters have been struggling for meters in the middle of the park. 25 meters and below is pathetic. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is essentially perfect. The average set distance for the Dolphins is 43.11. So that's in the great category. Mid-range of the great category. They're getting well and truly enough meters here on a great level in this game on an average set. The Roosters, unfortunately, it's getting close to underwhelming. It's 35.16, so they are at least hitting the threshold of 35 that you're looking for. 35.16 is... at least enough though, but it is 8 meters below where the Dolphins are situated. They are 8 meters below it. So yeah, very impressive there for the Dolphins. They're now at 42.95. Now we go to the play the ball speed. 3.19 seconds below is extremely fast. 3.2 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow, and 3.8 and above is extremely slow. Whilst I'm talking about this, it is so distracting with that music outside, by the way, but I'm doing my best. It is so distracting hearing the advertisements in the ear, plus that concert that's happening outside that I'm sure you can hear because my feet are reverberating with the bass right now. But anyway, so the average playable speed 3.16 seconds here for the Dolphins. That is extremely fast. They're moving this ball at a very, very quick rate, whilst the Roosters are at 3.43 seconds, so it is on the average category between 3.4 and 3.59. There is a gap here of about 20.28 seconds, which is a pretty significant gap in rugby league, especially when it's extremely fast, all the way down to that average. Now, the offloads is 6.2 for the Dolphins, so it's nothing crazy, but it's getting up there for Redcliffe in comparison to the 2 offloads there for the Roosters, which is very, very low. You go to the kick defusal, 56% here for the Roosters and 40% there for the Dolphins. The effective tackle percentage, though, this is fantastic defense here. So 85% and below is awful. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker. And 90% and above is essentially perfect. The Dolphins are at 92.1%. That is unbelievable. Very, very good defense there. 216 tackles made is also above the typical 160 to 180. So because we've seen that healthy 33 minutes of gameplay here, you're seeing both these teams make plenty more tackles than that typical 160 to 180. 216 is 36 above the typical range on the upper end. So that's a lot of tackles, and yet 92.7 is brilliant. 14 missed tackles is below the average of 15 to 17, and then 3 ineffective tackles is below the average of 5 to 7. So that is 15, 16, 17 bad tackles through a whopping 216. Very happy with that 92.7. And then you go to the Roosters. Also, it's pretty solid, 89.14%. That is still very, very solid here. Tackles made is 238. That is a massive amount of tackles. 160 to 180 is the typical. They are 58 tackles above the average that you see in a rugby league game. 20 missed tackles here. It's above the average of 15 to 17. That makes sense with the amount of tackles they've made. And the ineffective tackles is 9. It's above the average of 5 to 7 by 2, but it makes sense with the amount of tackles that's being made. So whilst you're seeing an above average missed tackle count and above average ineffective tackle count, because of how many tackles they've made, that's why they're still doing the job at a pretty good level. And they actually were really close to jumping into that perfect level of 90% and above. 89.14% is very happy stuff for the Roosters. And 92.7% for the Dolphins is obviously much better. But both these teams can't complain in regards to their defensive efficiency in this game so far. And then in regards to the errors, 3 and below is really good, 4 to 6 is average, and 7 above is awful. The Dolphins at 6, it's getting up there, but it's still in the average category on the higher end. The 4 errors for the Roosters is in the lower range of the average category. So they're both in the average, but the Dolphins have made those 2 extra errors. Penalties conceded, though, 3-0 against the Roosters, and the ruck infringements 3-1 against the Dolphins. So very even game in regards to ill discipline. It's actually 4-3 against the Roosters across the ill discipline there, but the errors is slightly against the Dolphins. Defensively, quite equal, but the Dolphins are the ones doing the better there. The offloads are slightly in favour of the Dolphins too. They've got a quicker play the ball speed, a average set distance of 8 metres above where the Roosters are. The line breaks is massive in their favour. The post-contact meters is probably in favour of the Roosters, but the run meters is massively in favour of the Dolphins. And the possession is essentially equal. So, look, I don't really know how this game goes from here. I'd probably say based off of those statistics, it would show that the Roosters aren't necessarily out of this game, but also both these teams are going to be tied. Who's going to have the more stamina? The Dolphins are usually a pretty good second-half team. The Roosters are usually a pretty good second-half team, but the Roosters have been pillaged in regards to 3 of their spine players in Reece Robson, plus Sam Walker, plus James Tedesco. A lot of their big-time backline players that you would expect for the tries are not here today, and it's maybe a little bit too... Oh, Hugo Savala's been ruled out for the rest of the game too, so not only did they lose James Tedesco, Reece Robson, and Sam Walker for this game, but Hugo Savala, who's been brilliant for them in the centres this year, had to shift into the 5'8" to play alongside Cherry Evans, and they've just lost him for the rest of the game with a concussion. So they are in serious trouble, and you just can't surely see the Roosters finding a way with that being down 12-0 here against the Dolphins, who do have players out themselves, but it's on a far less significance level to what the Roosters have out there. So again, as I said pre-game, I am taking the Dolphins. I'm aware of what the Roosters can still do, but I will take the Dolphins from here. Bretton says, can still hear you over the music. It's not on right now, but I'm telling you, the bass is so loud out there. I'm 18 floors up here in this apartment complex, and the whole place is just reverberating. Like, I can feel it in my damn well soul. That's how heavy that bass is. But it's beautiful because once I finish here, I can go out to the balcony, got a beautiful view of the ocean here in Nartrang, and I can look down and I've got a free concert right in front of my eyes. You know, it's unbelievable. But it's very distracting as I've got the advertisements here at halftime. I've got the music happening out there. I can feel everything, but he's shaking. And I'm reading through all the stats. As he says, I wonder how Ho Chi Minh Beach looking right now for on the drinks. Yeah, Ho Chi Minh doesn't have a beach, man. There is no beach in Ho Chi Minh. I'm not in Ho Chi Minh. I'm in Nha Trang. Ho Chi Minh is a city metropolis, man. It is definitely not a beach. Ryan says, what type of music? It's like, again, it's a concert. It's like a mix, because, again, I'm in Vietnam, so you got to expect this. It seems like there's a little bit of K-pop. There's also a little bit of electro. There's a little bit of R&B. It's really mixed, man. It's really eclectic. Really eclectic. 4 errors from the Chooks. Finally know how to hold the ball if your name's not DCE. Oh, you can't really blame DCE for that drop ball, man. That drop ball was hard to bring in, especially with the big hit coming through. Where's your glow sticks for the rave? You know what? There's actually a club here in Train, which is underground. I want to check it out before I head off. There's the base coming again. There is an underground club here where everyone goes. It's underneath the beach. Quite literally underneath the beach here in Train, yeah. Well, he says Ramsey's playing like a pudding at fullback, to be honest. We're blaming Ramsey with this, are we? Luke Hobday says, I've already read that comment. Edson says we should start playing rave music. It pretty much is, mate, to be fair. Pretty much is. But yeah, hopefully the Roosters can at least compete in this game for the second half, because they did still compete in their first half, despite the fact that on the eye test, you had a pretty convincing lead there for the Dolphins. But, you know, the Roosters had their chances. They just couldn't take them. And I feel like if they had their players, they probably would have taken those chances. Jared says, Yo, Blows, next time I ref a Titans game, I'll help you. Yeah, no, we appreciate that, mate. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be nice for once there, mate. Because you screwed us in 2016. Bobby says, anyone here actually think the Roosters going to win? I don't think so, but we all know what the Roosters can do. We all know what they can do, but I just think that now, again, with Savala being out, it's too much, mate. It really is. It's too much. No Tedesco in their fullback. No Sam Walker in their 7. Sherry Evans shifts from the 6 to the 7. No Reece Robson in their 9. And then Hugo Savala shifts from the centre to the 5'8" and then gets a concussion. He's out for the game. So I believe Connor Watson shifted into that 5'8" for the back end of that first half. And they've had to shift in Benai Uelu into that number 9. I just think it's too much for him, man. Sana says, should I just go back to sleep? I don't know if they can get through, yeah. Luke Hopday says, Nutrang rocks, great seafood. Have you been to Nutrang, have you, Luke Hopday? Yeah, good stuff. No, it's a beautiful place here, man. If you know, I'm sure you probably would have known Panorama. I don't know how long ago you came here, but if you know Panorama, that's where we are. Bloody fantastic place. Got a beautiful view there of the Vinpearl land and whatnot, and the ocean here. It's unreal. Best nicknames, Jimmy the Jet, Hammer Chief, who else? The GOAT, Will Zillman. That's who else, mate. The GOAT. William Zillman, the GOAT. That's the best nickname. And you can argue with a wall if you disagree. Sunday says that bad. I'll stay for a bit, see if I can change. Well, again, Sunday, you got to respect the fact that you've got like 7 players out of this game. Again, even outside of that spine problems of Tedesco, Sam Walker and Reece Robson, you've also got Daniel Tupou out, Mark Nwonatawase out, Robert Toya out, Victor Radley out. You know, the list just continues and goes on. Lindsay Collins out. The list just continues to go on. 20-odd years. Okay, yeah, so you wouldn't know what I'm talking about then in regards to that place. you wouldn't know what I'm talking about. But, yeah, no, training is great. It's interesting, though, because most people don't know about... most people don't know about this area. They usually just go to Da Nang or Hanoi or Ho Chi Minh and whatnot. Glasser says, has DCE been a fail for the Roosters this season? He's nowhere near what we know he's capable of. A fail is probably harsh. Not living up to expectations is definitely true. But I would say that being in third position, and with a full-strength team, they are still the goods. Being in third position, I think he's still done enough. He had a good game the other week. Last week against the Raiders. I wouldn't say he's been a fail, but again, not living up to expectations would be my answer. Bobby says, I reckon the Wild's going to pump the Sharks. Well, we'll see, man. The Sharks did beat the Warriors earlier on this season. You understand that's why I didn't even bother to set an alarm. Just woke up at 5 a.m. for some reason. Yeah, look, fair enough, man. Fair enough. I remember when I was living in Chicago for a little bit and I was waking up, this was in 2019, and I was waking up at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning to watch the Titans win the Wooden Spoon. They were fun days. Hoi An was good too. You haven't been there yet. Definitely want to go there. But the second half has started here, guys. It'll be the Roosters who start with the ball, and they'll bring this ball to the 15 on first tackle. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Don't forget, tomorrow we've got a bucket load of streams. Early on, 4:45 a.m. for you, AEST. We do have the Canada versus a Bosnia and Herzegovina game in the World Cup, plus also at 10:45 a.m. your time in AST, we will have the USA versus Paraguay game, which is a part of the Australian group. And then after that, we will have Warriors taking on the Sharkies and the Eels taking on the Raiders. And then we've got a massive slate on Sunday that includes Australia versus Turkey, Titans and Tigers, Morocco and Brazil. It's going to be a massive weekend. So definitely be here for it if you love your football. It was actually I really had fun on that South Korea versus Czechia game this morning on that stream. First tackle now for the Dolphins. They'll beat the 30, especially with the way they were able to turn that bad boy around. You know, they were down 1-0 against the run of play to Czechia, but they still found a way to score. Hwang Inbion with the assist and the goal. Brilliant stuff. Third tackle now at 35. And now they'll go to the left to Herbie Farnworth, and it'll be fourth tackle at the 48 on their own side of the field. Basically at the 50, fourth tackle. Welby says, DC's 37 years old. That's practically geriatric. Geriatric is crazy. Geriatric at 37 years old. My gosh. Contextually, I get you. But still, it's so funny to hear that. Fifth tackle, and the Roosters will grab this ball at the 15 on first tackle. I agree with Bobby. Yeah, again, we'll be live for it, and I'm probably going to be ended up tipping the Warriors, but when the Sharks are on, the Sharks are on. When the Sharks are off, they make me sick. So if they have a first half like last week against the Dolphins, they will get pumped. Actually, who's playing for the Sharks? This may be why Warriors fans are extremely confident. This may be why. I forgot. Is Nico Hines still out in that game? Yes, he is. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, I definitely am tipping the Wires. Adam Fanor, Blake, Britton Cora out. Nico Hines out. They do bring in Sione Katoa, whether he starts or not. They've got Jets Ramian back, and they've got Tukaha Tupua. So they still do have Nico Hines out, and then they do have Blake Brayley out. Yeah, look, you do have to be taking the Wires. You got to be taking the Wires quite confidently. Warriors fans, if you lose that game tomorrow, there's going to be some serious problems. That is going to be, well, a strip there from the Roosters, and it will come back for the Dolphins on zero tackle at the 35. Jared said, oh, that's right. Wow, well made. Oh, okay. Brenton's timed him out. What's he said? He probably does deserve it. Yeah, that's worthy of that timeout there, Brenton. You can tell him why you did it, but it's worthy. Second tackle. Cody Nicarima out to Herbie Farnworth, and Farnworth now is going to be the 42 on third tackle. Too late to retract that one. Glass says, we are confident because every year we are confident. Every year is our year. Well, I don't know, man. I've been around here for a little bit now, and I can tell you things can change pretty quickly in the Warriors camp, but there's a reason to be confident right now, and I'm confident in you guys overall. That's close before pass, but it's not going to be, and it's going to be Trey Fuller who's going to score, and I just don't see the Roosters come back from this. Trey Fuller will score. They're just 16-0 with a kick to come. Roosters, as long as you don't lose by 52, yeah, love fan cam. As long as you don't lose by 52, you will be okay. If you lose this game by 52 points and let the Dolphins blow this game out, you will have a great chance of going into 7th position this round. Ibrahim says, Dolphins probably my third favourite team right after the Titans. Yeah, fair enough, Ibrahim. It makes sense. But then again, that doesn't make any sense because the Titans are actually your first place team, your first favourite team, Ibrahim. Loves to get a time out back. Well, he's got plenty of time out to think about his sins just now, but it is time out for the Roosters as the Dolphins go in again. 16-0 kick to come. Here we go. Footy Dad says, I know this isn't a gambling channel, but anyway, I put money on the Roosters after seeing they were $3 odds, thinking the experts had lost it. Anyways, off the bet I go. You still speak about gambling. We have people talk about gambling all the time. As I said before when we were speaking about the Ashley Klein situation, right? I am okay with you guys gambling. I do not take any gambling sponsorships. We have been offered it many a time. But I trust that you guys are responsible with it. So I'm not going to, parent you in regards to what you as adults do. So you can absolutely gamble if that's in your interest. And, I'll entertain it and we'll talk about it here in the game and all that kind of jazz because it is still, a part of the game. So we'll still talk about it, but it's more about I'm trusting that you are responsible with it. So you can still talk about it. Just be responsible with your money. Bobby says, who scored that one? That was scored by, hold on one second, Nicarima off to Oren Keeley. I think it might be, yeah, Trey Fuller. Trey Fuller scored. Definitely tempting after watching my team lose 6 in a row on top of Queensland losing. Ibrahim, you are a Titans fan, mate. You are a Titans fan. Let's be serious about it for a second here, man. Everybody here in this chat is a Titans fan. They just haven't come to terms with it yet. One day they'll come to terms with it. Yeah, Fuller up, Jess. Yeah, Jess got on Trey Fuller, didn't she? Beautiful. So the Dolphins now up to 13. And they'll go after Canelli Lemuelu, and Lemuelu's going to be at the 20. Well, at least I got one of the three. I did take an easy one of Herbie Farnworth, to be fair. And now the Dolphins bring it to the 25 here on third tackle. Third tackle at the 25. And now to the 35 on fourth tackle. I just don't know if the Roosters have 18-point comeback in them. Yeah, together, Roosters. I don't know about that. Glass says, gamble at your own risk. Simple. I don't even know how to bet. Never done it and never lost. Hey, well, that's a pretty good win rate. Because everybody else has a losing record. They just don't know it because they win a couple of bets and they think that they're winning. But realistically, they've put enough money in beforehand that they are still losing. So you've got the best win rate probably of everybody here, mate. The Roosters here are going to be at the 23. First tackle. These places are not made on winners. If they were made for you to win, they would not do their business. Can we get Roosters on scam? Nah, there's too many injuries and too many players out here with Origin for them to go on scam, but they will stay on fraud alert for sure. They will. And I keep getting these Roosters fans every week coming in and telling me, why the Roosters on fraud alert? Well, the Cowboys game still happened. The Storm game still happened. 40-20 attempt here from the Roosters. But that's going to be nowhere near the angle. But it's going to be a great kick regardless. It'll go into the end goal here. It'll go into the end goal. Roosters chase it down nicely. He's going to... Oh, well done, Nafahu. He does well to stay in the field of play here. It's a big play here from Uelu and Trey Fuller at the 5 on second tackle. That would have been a massive momentum changer if they had caught him in the end goal. But Herbie Farnworth now to the 15 on third tackle. I'll be heading to the pub for a press after the game. Fourth tackle now at the 25. 7 minutes into the second half. And now Tom Gilbert to the 35 and fit tackle. Still a pretty good set here. So whilst it looked really good there for the Roosters, it's a great recovery for the Dolphins. And now Isaiah Katoa is going to put that one down here to the 10. And the Roosters have to bring it out from their own area. And Junior Tupou, again, haven't seen him for ages. Was the Tigers, then the Dolphins, now the Roosters. Cody Ramsey out of the wing. He'll be taken down at the 28 and second tackle. Lee's getting a chance now. Roosters versus Dolphins, Ollie says. Yeah, thank you. Sherlock Holmes over here. Third tackle now at 33. Oh, I get what they're saying now. Angus Crichton dropped the ball. Yeah, this game for mine. The Roosters aren't coming back on this one, lads. Now they've just got to limit their points differential. They've really got to limit that because they don't want to go below Newcastle. They have to lose by about 52 to go below Newcastle. And again, if they do that, well, like either way, they're going below the Dolphins here. Dolphins had a better points differential than pre-game. Sunder says good night. Yep, valid. Valid. We'll see you for the next streams, which will be Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then also USA, Paraguay. Cody Nicarima through the line. Straight through. Trotson. Cody Nicarima. That is game, folks. 22-0 with the kit to come. The Roosters are absolutely not coming back from this one. 22-0 to the Dolphins with 30 minutes to go here of the game. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. The Dolphins are going to just absolutely run through them with ease. And Roosters, you've got to be very, very careful here because your points differential, whilst it was good, is now coming back down into an area where you're talking about not going into the negatives in the future. So, big yikes. Brooklyn is laughing at 18-0. It's actually about to be 24-0 to the Dolphins. Brooklyn says fraud alert Rooster. They are already on fraud alert. They won't be taken off of fraud alert. $30 minutes to go here. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a spectacular game here, folks. The Roosters were just, unfortunately, down on such numbers. unfortunately down on such numbers that they just didn't have any ability to seriously compete coming into the second half, and the Dolphins just too good. Footy Dad says, last comment before I log off for the night, but I've already warned the missus that BK will be on the sound bar for the Socceroos versus Turkey match, so we'll see you there. Bye all. Yeah, good stuff, Footy Dad. It's going to be a hectic stream, mate. USA versus Paraguay is something that you probably should check out as well, because again, that's our group, and that's on tomorrow at 10:45 a.m. for you over there in East Coast Australia. I think you're East Coast Australia, but that is a very important game to watch if for all the Aussies out there. And then our game is on at 2 p.m. Or I'll be live at 1:45 p.m. for you, but 2 p.m. for Australia versus Turkey. What a fantastic time slot on Sunday. But we'll see you then. Saikatoa, he's going to make the kick. 24-0 with 29.5 minutes to go here at the game. Newcastle could also go on a winning run if they have a fully healthy squad. I think Newcastle is still someone I'm keeping an eye on because their defense isn't great, but their attack is very potent. Ollie says, Russo no good. Jeez, this microphone is shaking a little bit because of the bass outside. Well, I might even have to close the curtain soon because I know the light show is starting and you're going to see lights just everywhere. It's going to be like a rave in here. I promise you, it will be like a rave. Last night, I was sitting here with my partner and we were just chilling. And next minute, it was like the end of the world. The light show just went absolutely nuts. We're having a rave in the bloody Danwell bedroom. It was an absolute rave. I thought I was going to be blinded by the lights. Yeah, man, the machines these days are raw, especially out my way. Who has been more surprising, Manly top 3 or Brisbane bottom 3? Manly top 3 would be the answer to that. Because whilst Brisbane won the premiership last year, this is what they did in the first half of last year. And yes, they came back in the second half, but these problems have been there. They just got on a really good run of form and the momentum was just too good. And the Dolphins may score 40, 50 here. They may. I'm telling you, the Dolphins are just running rampant through the middle of the park at the moment. Saikatoa's going to put that ball up here into the corner at the 20. Good. It's going to be a drop there from Herbie Farnworth. Not Herbie Farnworth, it was Jack Bostock. And there is going to be a penalty to the Dolphins coming up. Penalty to the Dolphins. Leave the curtains open. I don't mind a rave. Yeah, but I will. yeah, but I will. Rhett Shoe says, screw the Dolphins. Oh, that's a... Yeah, look, it's the right call at the end, but I would have argued that Jack Bostock also just dropped that ball when they were both competing for it. Yeah, I would say Manly top 3 would have to be the most surprising because this has been a theme with Brisbane over the last couple of years, minus the second half of last year. First tackle now for the Dolphins. They're at the 15. Now roll it back to Marshall King. The Roosters just can't get a break right now, and the Dolphins are just putting it through them. Second tackle now with the 13. They came with the Roosters against the Roosters at a really good time here. Marshall King. And now they'll be 8 meters away from the line, third tackle. Marshall King, he's going to go straight to the middle. He's going to score a try here. Marshall King will score. It's 28-0 with the kick to come. It's about to be 30-0 in any moment now. And this game... You could end up going, Newcastle fans, you want this score to keep blowing out. Again, before this game started, the Roosters were on plus 73. The Knights were on plus 32. All you need to see, 63, 53, 43, 33. Sorry, 42 points. Forget it being 50. If the Roosters lose this game by 42 points or more, which is only going to be 2 converted tries away in the next 27 minutes, the Knights will go above the Roosters. So the Dolphins will jump from 7th into 4th. The Knights will jump from 5th into 4th. The Knights will stay in 5th, and the Roosters will drop down into 6th. And then they've got to hope that the Sharks don't win against the Warriors, otherwise they will drop into 7th. Wow, the Roosters, this has been a really tough period for you. Dragon Lover says, are the Titans still on top? That's so surprising. Will they beat the Tigers? Oh, yeah, for sure. Gee whiz, I'll never lose a game ever again. Of course they're on top. You can see them right here. They're right there. They're right there. Ryan says, oh my, there's still 25 minutes to go. I thought it was almost done. No, there is 26 and a half minutes. Not almost 25. There is over 25. There is 26 and a half minutes to go here. This is a disgrace. I'm at 317 right now in Barrow. So you're there? Oh, man, I've been where you are many a time watching a a game where we get smashed and feeling embarrassed, I've been there. At least you don't have the fans coming for your head. I have before many a time. Sharks got no hope betting the Wires. All right, we'll see. You and I both know full well about what the Warriors can put up at random times. I am tipping the Warriors, and I'm confident the Warriors considering the team lineups. But you and I both know that the Warriors in history, whenever you guarantee them a win, you may as well guarantee them a loss. Again, I think they win tomorrow, and I will be tipping them, and I'll be tipping them confidently with the players the Sharks have out, plus also the fact that they weren't convincing against the Dragons last week until the second half. But you and I both know, sir. You and I both know. Be very, very wary of the confident, extreme favourite Warriors. But 30-0 to the Dolphins with 26 minutes to go to the game. Jess with the £10 donation. Jess with the 27.5 Dolphins. Oh, she's flying. Oh, flying. Honestly, I know you get on live, not telling you to do anything, but I do think there's plenty more tries left in this game. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that cheeky little bad boy out there. 4 tackle here at the 40. As in, I will say, in my personal belief, that I believe the Knights will be above the Roosters by the end of today. Lucky not to be a high tackle there. It'll be fit tackle at 48. But thank you very much for the £10 donation, Jess. And the Dolphins will whack this one down here to the 18. Brandon says, looks like 3/4 of the spine missing is too much to overcome. Absolutely. Well, like I said before the game started, the reason I was tipping the Dolphins is because when you have one player out, it's very difficult. One spine player out is very difficult to win. When you have 2 spine players out, you're probably going to lose. When you have 3 players out, there's no reason, you have no right to win. And that's what's happened here with the Roosters. The Dolphins had Hamiso out, so, you know, it's more difficult to win. But then the Roosters not only have their second, and you've got to remember as well, they lost Tedesco, they lost Sam Walker, and they lost Reece Robson. Hugo Savala was the replacement in the halves, and even he went down with a concussion and didn't come back for the rest of the game in the 30th minute. So not only are those players out with Origin and their spine pillaged, but they lost their centre to put into the halves, and then even he went down injured. Do you think total points over 45.5? Again, not my responsibility, but with that being said, I would say yes. I always need to clarify that just so that I know you understand that, but I just need to clarify that for people. So they go out to the left, and Herbie Farnworth now to the 45. Yeah, I do think there's still plenty of points left in this game. Herbie Farnworth at the 50 on 3rd tackle. Mitch says that's enough from you. Glass says Sharks 4-pack this season so young, seem to have no fear either running the ball or defense. Look, it still could be interesting tomorrow. The Bunny says, I hope this year's finals is going to be entertaining, but we all know Penrith is winning this year, unfortunately. Well, they're not even in the top 9 right now, mate. Farnworth's away. Happy Farnworth's away. Here's another try for you. Here's another try for you. And there's another try scorer that I predicted as well, Canelli Luelu. So I picked out Happy Farnworth, which was an easy one. Luelu, I did call him for a try. He hasn't been a massive try scorer this year. It's gone to Finifiuaki's side. But the Dolphins will score and make it 34-0 here with a kick to come. With 24 minutes to go. Hey, Knights fans, cheer at home. Hey, Brenton, cheer home the kick because this will put you above the Roosters. All you need now is another 6-point try. That's all you need now. And if you got Farnworth and Supercoach, you'd be flying right now. Ibrahim says, after looking at Brisbane's draw, I think it's safe to say we aren't winning a singular game. We're not going to win a single game. We're going to win. We aren't winning a singular game we're going to win. I don't know what that means. I think you're trying to say you're not going to win a game for the rest of the season. Let's settle down. Like, you will win at some stage when you least expect it, mate. Who do you play next? Who's your next game? I think you've got your two buys coming up in a short period, but who's your next game? I think you're going to buy next week, don't you? Broncos, next week bye, yeah. So after the bye, I'm going to have a look here at the draw here for the Brisbane Broncos. The Broncos in the next few matches, the Roosters in 2 weeks. They'll have their full team back for it. Good luck. Good luck. Then the Sharks is still winnable. Panthers in round 20, it's not happening. Cowboys, rivalry game's always doable. Knights game, they're not unbeatable. Dolphins, they're not unbeatable, but they should just beat you. Warriors, I don't think you should be beating them. They'll be 36-0 here to the Dolphins with 22 minutes to go here. The Raiders, very beatable. Storm, they are still beatable, but they will be firing up for a top 8 spot at that time. And the Bulldogs, very beatable. So, yeah, look, I think that you'll definitely win a game, but it's very difficult to see when it will actually be with the form that they're showing. But, you know, form is temporary. Are there any Sharks in Origin? Yeah, Adam Fanor-Blake is for New South Wales and Brett Nakora is for Queensland due to the eligibility change-up. If it wasn't for the eligibility, them changing the eligibility rules, we would not have seen a Sharks play in Origin. Last year, we didn't see any Sharks players in Origin. To the Dolphins now, it was a 4-point difference on the points differential between the Dolphins and the Roosters tonight. Now it's blown out to about a 100-point gap. The Dolphins will have this ball to 20 on a second tackle after a bad pass. Levy says, I'm so exhausted. It's been such a long week. Yeah, no, I know the feeling. I've had not much sleep, and I won't have much sleep for the next month, to be fair. Here comes the light show. I just saw the lights going on. Here comes the light show. The Dolphins will be the 45-4 tackle, and again, I've got to be up at 1:30 in the. I'm going to be up at 1:30 in the morning for a start tomorrow of Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. So I won't even get much for sleep here today either, and then I'll have about maybe a 3-hour sleep before. Dolphins again. No, that'll be a knock on here from the Redcliffe Dolphins, and the Roosters will get the ball at 15. So, Jess, did you get on the over 45.5? Peter says, there seems to be a lot of teams being held to nil recently. Teams used to always at least score one try. Why do you think some teams can't score at all? I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. I would say there's more nil scores that we saw in the 2000s than we see now by a long way. New Zealand deserve an Origin game. Okay, well, New Zealand are getting an Origin game next year. Mark says, I only nipped the shot. Roosters have collapsed. Yeah, they lost 2 players due to concussion in the first half, so they're down on the bench, and their spine's been just in pieces. Their backline's in pieces. That's why you had to go with the head tip of the Dolphins here today, and that's why the Dolphins are putting a score past them. 20 minutes to go here at the game, folks. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Roosters did their best to do something in this game, but they weren't clinical in the first half, and the Dolphins have been able to pull away here. Again, the Dolphins and the Roosters are both usually second half teams, but this Roosters team is not the usual Dolphins, not the usual Roosters that you will typically see. The Dolphins, at the very least, only had Hamiso out. That's all they had out. Fit tackle, 47-metre gain here for the Roosters, and Sherry Evans will put that ball up into the air. And that'll be allowed to bounce here. They're going to score. Rex Bassingthwaite is going to score on debut. He will score on debut. So it's going to be 36 points to 4 here with the hit to come. No, it's not. They're going to go to the bunker. We're going to get a replay of it, but they're going to the bunker. He must be offside here. Oh, he thinks it might have actually been a drop from Billy Smith here. It might have been a knock on Billy Smith, actually. So they've cleared the onside. So Billy Smith must touch this here. And he will... Ooh, it's close. Billy looks guilty, though. No way. No, he does not. No, this is a try for Rex. This is a try. This is going to be a try. 36 points to 4 with the kick to come. There's a clear gap between the ball and the hand, and it will be try time for Rex Bassingthwaite, so they won't get done to nil. Guys, it's not a no. New Zealand should have their own Origin game, North versus South. Okay, sure. Organise it then. Arthur says, you forgot Selwyn Cubbo and Max Plath, not just me, so that's not part of the spine, though. That's not the conversation. Sure, but that's not part of the spine. Max Plath is a 13. Selwyn Cubbo is a winger. And also, if we're talking that, then Flegler is out in this game as well. And also Kulika for Finifuiaki. Just to clarify in regards to that. But again, that wasn't the conversation. The conversation was in regards to the spine. Scratch that. Called this as a try scorer. Oh, yeah, I did actually. Yeah, I called Rex Bassingthwaite as a try scorer. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, so I've got Canelli Lunwelly right. I've got Canelli Lunwelly right. I also have Herbie Farmworth, and I also picked out Rex Bassingthwaite. So yeah, I've called out 3 try scorers in this game, and the only try scorer for the Roosters I picked out. So I'm pretty happy with that. Heads up, they're just the Dolphins, no Redcliffe. So heads up, I understand that, but I will give them a location until they get a location. They don't have a location right now. I think it is silly to have a name as the Dolphins because that is not relating to any community. So they have always been known as the Redcliffe Dolphins in terms of their Queensland Cup team. And they haven't decided to go with that at the moment. They will eventually get a location. I think it's very silly, so I will continue permanently call them the Redcliffe Dolphins until otherwise they're giving a location. If they get given Sunshine Coast, they get given Moreton Bay, they get given Redcliffe. That's when I'll call them by whatever name that they give in regards to location. But at the moment, I'm not calling them the Dolphins. I find that silly. I think you need to relate to a community. So if you want to call them the Brisbane Dolphins, go for it. I think it's ridiculous with the fact that Brisbane Broncos in the competition, but until you get a location, I will call you the Redcliffe Dolphins. You are currently the Dolphins, and your feeder club and where your club derives from is Redcliffe. So again, until they're given a location, they're the Redcliffe Dolphins. And pretty much everybody in the entire competition calls them the Redcliffe Dolphins. The NRL even speak in commentary, and officially they speak about the Redcliffe Dolphins. It's just that officially the name is not technically the Redcliffe Dolphins. But when Peter V'landys refers to them, he speaks about them being Redcliffe as well, mind you. So whilst I understand that you're a Dolphins fan, and obviously you have your opinion in regards to that, it is a fair call for people to call them Redcliffe until proven otherwise. And Roosters are away here. Angus Crichton right through the line. They're going to score another try here, the Roosters. They're going to score another try. Oh, no. Bad pass from Crichton. And the Roosters will maybe score or maybe go over the sideline. I don't know. He's gone over the sideline here, so it's going to be a no try. Arthur Finn says the community is North Brisbane. Literally, when they made the team, they said the community is North Brisbane, all the suburbs are North Brisbane. We'll then call it North Brisbane. Your name's not North Brisbane. You derive from the Redcliffe Dolphins. It is not unfair to call you the Redcliffe Dolphins. Every single person in the NRL, besides maybe you and the people that you know, call them the Redcliffe Dolphins. The NRL call them the Redcliffe Dolphins unofficially. The commentary call you the Redcliffe Dolphins. The fan call you the Redcliffe Dolphins. You derive from the Redcliffe Dolphins, and you play in Redcliffe when you're not playing in Suncorp. So to be upset about people calling them the Redcliffe Dolphins is insane to me. It is absolutely insane to me. You quite literally derive from that club, and everyone calls you that. It's just that your official name is not technically the Redcliffe Dolphins, but yet you've always been called it. And I've never seen anybody actually complain about the fact being called Redcliffe. Are you from North Brisbane? Is this the reason why Dolphins are away here? It's all good in regard. The Dolphins are away at the 40, the 35, the 30. Back on the inside, they're going to score a try here. They're going to score a try here. There's a try for Brad Schneider for the Dolphins, and it's 40-4 with a kick to come. Over 45 is about to happen for you, Jess. So, again, Upper Fins, this is a passionate response. So just understand that from that context, it's not me having a crack at you. But I'm just telling you from a perspective outside of your own, it's not unfair to call them the Redcliffe Dolphins. But if you want them to be North Brisbane, that's great. Well, the NRL needs to do that because they still call you the Redcliffe Dolphins unofficially. So I'm sure that it's probably because, again, this is me assuming, I'm sure that you're probably from North Brisbane. You want that to be the case, and sure, that could have been the original case, but that's not what the conversation has been ever, really. There's been word about them being called Redcliffe. There's also been word they've been called Moreton Bay. There's also been word they've been called Sunshine Coast, but their home location, the true home location of the Redcliffe Dolphins, is actually KO, which is in Redcliffe. Suncorp is where they go because they've got bigger crowd attendances there and the capacity is much more larger. But their home is still technically KO in Redcliffe. No, I'm very aware of the Fins. No, I know that they're called the Dolphins. They should have a name instead of being homeless. I 100% agree. I think it's disrespectful to the community. Whatever community they represent, it's disrespectful to the community. Because from a neutral perspective, from an outsider's perspective, I go, well, how can you truly get behind, and this is with all due respect to Dolphins fans, but how can you truly get behind the Dolphins if you don't know where they're actually from? Because you can have your assumption about North Brisbane, and you can have your assumption about Redcliffe, or you can have some assumption about the Moreton Bay area, or you can have your assumption about Brisbane in general. But how can you fully get behind the team until you are given the exact location of where they're meant to be representing? New Zealand Warriors represent New Zealand. The Gold Coast Titans represent the Gold Coast. The Brisbane Broncos represent Brisbane. The North Queensland Cowboys represent pretty much everywhere above Mackay. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, that's a bit of an interesting one because it's not really South Sydney. But sure, you know, it's still more so just Eastern Sydney, but in different portions to where the Sydney Roosters are from. Penrith represents Penrith. Parramatta Eels represent Parramatta. Newcastle represent Newcastle. Melbourne represent Melbourne. Canberra represent Canberra. That's the issue that I have here. I know you're agreeing with. I'm just kind of emphasising that point for the people who may not see why we're having this passionate conversation. Up the Fence says, true, everyone's entitled to an opinion and they should have a home, so the home that they're based in should be their name, so you can call them whatever you want. I really don't care. You're allowed. Well, yeah, I know I'm allowed. But, yeah, I think it's better for you guys. I think it's better for your club and for the growth of your club. Sure, it may alienate some people who aren't from the Redcliffe area or Moreton Bay area or whatnot. Dolphins here at the 25. It's 42 points to 4. Hey, by the way, Knights fans, if the Dolphins score again, well, then it will be you above the Roosters. Nicarima, fit tackle, gets the ball away. Herbie Farnworth. Farnworth kicks his ball through for himself here, but it will be Cody Ramsey who gets that ball away, and he's away. He's gone. He's gone. He's off and gone. He's off and gone at the 30, the 40, the 45, the 50, the 40. Oh, look at this chase from Junior Tupou. Oh, Tavita Nafahu, sorry. Cody Ramsey's done well there. Cody Ramsey's done well. What a try from Cody Ramsey. What a try from Cody Ramsey. Oh, no, they're coming to the bunker. Why are we going to the bunker here? What's the bunker for? Oh, they're looking at touchline. Oh, this would be massive if Tavita Nafahu's made this. This would be an unbelievable try-saving tackle if Nafahu gets him out. He's well out. Yep. He's well out there. Well done, Tavita Nafahu. That's a brilliant chase. That is a brilliant, brilliant chase. Corey Skane says, if Nafahu scores twice and Dolphins win by 51 plus, I'll win $4,700. Well, looking forward to the $470 donation there. Nafahu, he's already scored once, yeah? Great try-saving tackle from Tavita Nafahu. Oh, Nafahu hasn't even scored once, unfortunately. Oh, man, that's so unfortunate there for Cody Ramsey, but what a try-saving tackle from Tavita Nafahu. Timmy Beef says, no way, Selwyn, I'm gay for you. Yeah, that's a really interesting statement. Well, Selwyn Cobo's not playing in this game, and it was Tavita Nafahu who made that play. They've just shown you on the little hype package for Tigers vs Titans on Channel 9. Did they really? Is it the one where I'm going with my singlet and I'm going like this at a C-Bus game? I think it is. They love that footage of me. I got the singlet on, the blue, like the navy blue Titan singlet on with the white line out, and I'm raising my arms like this and celebrating like crazy. I think that was all the way back in like dead set 2022. Yeah, you had your hands up. Yeah. That will be. I know which one. They love that footage. That's going to be Dolphins now at the 50. Timmy's beef buns is Selwyn's property. Oh, intercept there for the Roosters, the 42. They would have been away otherwise. Yes, it is. They do love that one. I think they'll show that one every time they mention the Titans. Might even be on the footy show or something. Footy show intro. Yeah, the Sunday footy show I think uses it on the intro. True. We can call them whenever we can call them whatever you want to call them. It's just a team name. It doesn't affect how they play. Call them whatever. It doesn't affect how they play. I think it affects the fans, but I don't think it affects how they play at all. No. More point for Rooster Man. Yeah, no points for Rooster Man today. Hazy's not going to be doing a little dance on Instagram today, unfortunately. Sherry Evans out to Cody Ramsey. I'm still intrigued to see if Jess got on that over 45.5 like we told her. Because it went over the 45.5. It's 46 points now. 30 minutes to go. Mia says, Dolphins are winning because they're only missing Hammer and Cobbo, while Roosters are missing Marky Mark, Robert, Toya, Sam Walker, Radley, Collins, Reece Robson. So I'm going to meet you halfway here. So this is a penalty to the Roosters. I'm going to meet you halfway and say you're partially right. Partially right. So the Roosters have got the much more significant players out with Origin and also injuries. You only speak about those guys, but let's go through them all. Tedesco, Daniel Tupou, Robert Toya. Also, mind you, we've got to add in Hugo Savala now, Sam Walker, Reece Robson, Lindsay Collins. You've also got Victor Radley out, and I might even be missing someone. I don't know. But the point is that's a much more significant amount of outs there for the Roosters. But also, let's not limit the Dolphins in regards to their 2 outs. Hamiso is still important, their fullback. Thomas Flegler is one you've missed there. Selwyn Cobbo is there. He's not here. You've also got Noka Luka for Fuiaki in the back row. Roosters here at the 10. is out. Kulikefi Fidifiaki is out. And also Max Platt is out. So the Dolphins have more than just 2 outs. The Roosters have the more significant outs. They've got 3 of their spine out. And you can add in the 4th with Savala getting injured. Nat Butcher knocked this ball on. And it'll be Dolphins 0 tackle at the 10 on their own side of the field. So you can essentially say 4 of their spine players are out. But only 3 of those can really fit in because Cherry Evans is still there. Knock on from the Dolphins. It'll be Roosters ball at the 10. And they'll just have to come back and play the ball eventually. But yes, meeting you halfway is that you are right that the Roosters losing this game has a lot of excuses. But you're also wrong that it's only 2 players for the Dolphins out. You like the Sharks' chances tomorrow, Blaze? Reckon they have a chance? Not really, man. With no Nico Hines, with the way they've been performing recently, not really. But the Warriors aren't exactly a guarantee, are they always? But I will be tipping the Wars. The then goes, so I'm hoping the Roosters either score or just hold the Finns out here so we can stay third. The Finns are only 2 points on differential now. Wow, truly. 2 points behind us on differential. Yeah, the Knights are really hoping that the Dolphins score again. You're really hoping that the Roosters score again. They'll get a penalty here too. No, you're right, Mia. You're right for that. I was just clarifying and helping you understand that there is more to it than what you said. Again, meeting you halfway. You're not wrong. But also the Dolphins, they've got players out. But it just comes down to that spine. 1 spine player out is very difficult to win. 2 spine players out, you probably won't win. 3 spine players out, you have no right to win. 4 spine players out, basically forfeit the game. The Roosters now, they're going to be 5 metres away from the line first tackle. 10 minutes to go here of the game, folks. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you are new around here. 10 minutes to go here, folks. 6 again for the Roosters, and Spencer Leniu is 4 metres away from the line. First tackle, Benai Uelu to Cherry Evans. Cherry Evans will get that offload at the back now to Kobe Ramsey. Then to Siwa Wong, and Siwa Wong is going to be 10 metres out, second tackle. 10 metres away. They've had more tackles than the opposition 20, the Roosters. That's insane. Third tackle now at the 8. Means they're getting pieced apart in the middle of the field. Cherry Evans, short ball, Nafahu White. If he scores, he's my last try scorer out of the 4, by the way. Nafahu White is my last try scorer in this game to come through to make it a 4-from-4 sweep. And the Roosters are going to... No, they're not. Good scramble. Back to Angus Crichton. Crichton's going to push away. And 6 again here for the Roosters. And they may not need it, though. They're going to be 5 metres out from the line first tackle. Classes, but when you got the greatest coach ever, then what's the excuse for the Dolphins? What, Christian Wolf? What? Christian Wolf? Christian Wolf, the greatest coach ever, you reckon, Glasser? What are you talking about? Benai Uelu gets it out to, nearly knock on. Oh, the nearly knock on has actually worked out for him. That's actually a really nice try there. That's actually a really, really nice try there for the Roosters. The Toby Rodwell is going to score a try on debut here for the Sydney Roosters. So we've seen 2 debutants score the Roosters tries today, and Rex Bassingthwaite and Toby Rodwell. But that little mistake there, has actually probably helped them. That's probably helped him, and he's gotten over the line. Selwyn buns are mine. Again, Selwyn not playing here today. It's really weird that you're still talking about his buns. Friend says Finn's dead to me. Yeah, the Roosters right now looking like they probably will be staying above the Newcastle Knights. And Manly fans, you can rejoice because this is going to be a 6-pointer here for the Roosters to take them to 10. So it'll be a 32-point swing, which means that you're going to be 8 points still better points differential than the Dolphins. But you have had a scare. You have had a little bit of a scare here, son. Selwyn is a winger in a front row forward's body. Why are we still talking about Selwyn Cubbo? The guy's not playing here today, folks. He's not here. And the Chooks get the kick. So it is 42 points to 10. 8 minutes to go here. Don't forget, guys, tomorrow, 4:45 a.m. Big old Canada versus Bosnia-Herzegovina. 10:45 a.m. USA versus Paraguay. Actually, is it the Eels Raiders first before Warriors Sharks? No, it's Warriors Sharks first at 5:50. I'll probably be live at 4:30 p.m. AEST for that, for a big game. And then Eels Raiders will be at about 7:30 or so we'll be live for. Selwyn is a sus lad. Well, Selwyn's still getting brought up in the chat. Selwyn's just living his life right now. He's getting ready for Origin on Wednesday, and we're talking about Selwyn Cubbo. The Roosters get this ball to the 20 on first tackle. Lockie says, hoping the Titans wins, they'll go above the Broncos. That'd be nice. That would be nice. I'd really like Nafahu White to score because I usually get 2 out of 4 at the minimum. 3 out of 4 is a good day, but 4 out of 4 would just be unreal, especially considering the limited amount of tries the Roosters have had. Finns will put Fitty. Potentially 7 minutes 45 to go here. They need 8 more points, but the Roosters have gained some momentum in these last 10, and they've at least scored a couple of tries, or scored a try. Tubby Rodwell's just been absolutely slaughtered in that tackle. And Sherry Evans. That is a difficult kick to catch. And Trey Fuller will get it. And he'll bring it to the 20. We've been actually blue balled in a couple of Fitty bombs lately. We saw a very big blue ball from the Rabbitohs against the Broncos actually last night. They hit 48. They didn't get to the old Fitty bumper. And penalty to the Dolphins at their own 30. Oh, this is something you need to see it. Laurie says, Nafahu for the Fitty bomb try. Well, we still need to see 2 tries here for the Dolphins, and they've got 7 minutes to do it. Entirely possible. We've still got to score the old 2 tries here. Brad Schneider, he'll whack that ball to the 45 here. Who's the Panthers' biggest threat? Well, it just has to be the Warriors right now. It does. Dolphins are making moves, but I still want to see them consistently pump into the second half of the season. That's where they've usually failed. At this point of the year, they're in a pretty similar position to where they were at this point of last year. So I still want to see them pump along a little bit more deeper into the second half of the year. But Dolphins are looking pretty good. Still not... Again, need to see that second half of the season. Dolphins are away here. They're at the 35, right through the line at the 25, third tackle. But the Warriors are clearly, as we speak, the biggest danger. Dolphins to Nicarima. Nicarima at the 15. Gives it off to Happy Farmworth. Try time for Tavita Nafahu. Try time for the Chooksters. Try time for the Chooksters. Not the Chooksters, the Dolphins. Try time for the Dolphins. It is 46 attempt to get to come. I'm so tired right now after a lack of sleep these last probably 5 days. And I've just called the Dolphins the Roosters. But either way, 46 attempt to get to come. Jeremy says, at this stage, would you shave your head, Blaze? What the fuck are you talking about? Mitchell said also, Jeremy, what are you on about? I don't know what he's talking about. Where did me shaving my head come into any conversation in the history of ever? And what relevance does it have to any part of any conversation that we're having? How have I gone? And well, that was actually a high tackle from Billy Smith too. But yeah, it is a try. Maybe not dead to me. You still need them to score another converted try. Manly fans, you're back on the worried level of the Dolphins going back above you, by the way. To be fair, this is a very important kick here, though, for the Dolphins on that level. 5 minutes to go here. A few injuries for the Wars for tomorrow, but should beat the Sharks. Nico Hines is out. Britt Nakora is out. And Fanil Blake is out. That's 3 pretty integral players of their team. More point, the 46-10 Sydney. Ollie's also extremely random in this chat. From cheeks to bald heads. Yeah, don't know what's happening. Selling Cobo's buns, and now we're talking about bald head. Wasn't Wolf supposed to be the next best thing next to Bennett? Wolf's a solid coach, but also, well, way too early to be talking about best coach. I was speaking in regards to the hair situation on the ref. But the ref in the game is not bald. It's Todd Smith. Todd Smith is redhead. And they will get the kick here. So 48 points of 10. And it is starting to rain quite heavily now at Suncorp. Oh, don't give us another blue ball. Come on. 4.5 minutes to go. Come on. Give us the Fetty bomb. Give us the Fetty bomb, Dolphins. Give us the Fetty bomb. Give us the absolute Fetty bomb. I'm not putting them on scam because there's too many players out. But if the Roosters, who I think maybe have a bye next week. The Roosters next week will actually play the Sharks. If the Roosters lose the Sharks, you will be on scam. You'll also likely be out of the top 8, mind you. Just a real bit of an emphasis there. You are likely to be out of the top 8 if you lose to Cronulla next week. Dolphins next 5. Tigers, Warriors, Knights, Sharks, Cowboys. Tigers very beatable right now. Warriors will be a good game. Knights away will be a tough game. Sharks at home will still be a tough game despite their early season game. And Cowboys at home, I really think the Dolphins should get over the top of them. All right, so Felice Kafusi. That's a very tough fight next 5 games, though, especially if the Tigers get back to a lot more full strength. They go to Brad Schneider at the back into Nicarima. Quick passing. It's going to go back to the 45 on their own side of the field. And now they're 48 metres away from the Roosters line. 3.5 minutes left. I'm getting a feeling of a blue ball. I'm getting a major blue ball I'm feeling right now. No, I did not go to Merrimack. I grew up in Merrimack in points in my life, but I did not go to Merrimack. No, I went to TSS, Kings, and Marymount. I went to Robina briefly, but I went to TSS, Kings, and Marymount with a brief stint at Robina. And Roosters, next 5, Sharks, Broncos. Sharks at home, Broncos away, bye, Eels at home, and Storm at home. They are really looking forward to that bye round. If you lose to Cronulla next week, your season is getting very scary, Roosters. 4th tackle now at the 35. We usually beat Finns at home. You do, but this Dolphins team is seeming like a bit of a different team to recent years. And so are you, but that does show that it's just 2 completely different outfits going up against each other. And that's going to be grabbed here by Trey Fuller at the 10. Probably their biggest chance right now. Probably have to go and score on this set, really, if we want to see the Fitty Bomb. And now they'll be at the 20 on 2nd tackle. Naughty Neil says 3rd tackle now for the Dolphins, and they're going to be at the 30. Good call there, Mitchell. Very good call. 3rd tackle here at the 30. 2 minutes to go here in the game. Tommy Gilbert brings this ball to the 45 on 4th tackle. Red Roosters scam alert if they don't beat the Sharks. Yeah, scam if they don't beat Sharks. They're not going on scam today. They've got too many players out with Origin, but most of those guys will be back next week. That was naughty, Neil. That was a naughty comment, Neil. 5th tackle, Marshall King, Bradley Schneider. Schneider boosts this ball down, and that should be... it's not a great kick. Cody Ramsey has to come out of his own in goal, but he gets out of the 10 on 1st tackle. 1.5 to go here. The Roosters, they're going to have a cramp here for Cody Ramsey. With 1.5 to go, they're just going to soak up this time. I would say they don't want to concede the 50 bomb. Have they conceded 50 this season? I don't know if they have, eh? I don't think the Roosters have conceded 50 this season. Wild's going to put 40 on the Sharks so we can shut them down, Will Kennedy. My gosh, so the confidence in the Warriors fans is getting ridiculous. The Roosters will bring this ball now to the 13. I went Eels against Raiders. I will be taking the Raiders. A minute to go here of the game. A massive points differential swing between these two clubs who were very close. It was only 4 points differential swing prior to this game. Now it's an 80-point swing. Oh, it's now an 80 points differential swing between the two of them. Cronulla, if they win, go above the Roosters. It's only 3 points separating you and the Knights right now, Roosters. Oh, Newcastle, you're going to be so close here, but you are going to stay below them because the Dolphins have only got 35 seconds to score here. I don't know how much they care. And the Roosters will whack this ball down to the 15. And Trey Fuller takes it out to the 30. 1st tackle. Cody Nicarima. And now they'll be at the 40 on 2nd tackle. 10 seconds to go here, folks. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow for a bucket load of streams. They bring the ball to the 45, and we are unfortunately going to get another blue ball. But fortunately for the Dolphins fans, the Redcliffe Dolphins fans, the Redcliffe Dolphins fans, you are going to see your team get a big old win here against a very origin-depleted Dolphins, Roosters team. Yes, their players out was way more... Oh, no, it's Aikatoa's gone down here. Oh, my gosh. Oh, no, it's not Aikatoa. It's Jermaine Sarko. God bless Jermaine Sarko. But anyway, Dolphins, you're going to get a fantastic win here that puts you up into 4th position. up into 4th position for the week. So you are super duper right now. You're very happy with that. You're in 4th. Long season to go, but you're happy with that on 20 points. You'll be equal with Manly, the Roosters, and also Newcastle with the better points differential. Sharks, if they can get a win, they'll put themselves onto that equal group of 20 points as well. And they'll actually go into... They will go into 5th position. Yeah, so Roosters... You're lucky you don't drop below Newcastle. The lowest you can go is into 6th, but the Sharkies win tomorrow. You do go on a 6th. But, guys, that's going to do us here for today's streams. I'm going to have a good old rest now before we do start up early in the morning for Canada versus Bosnia and Herzegovina. And then also, later on, we'll have USA versus Paraguay before Warriors play the Sharks. And then also the Eels play the Raiders. So if you were new here, hit that subscribe button. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the stream. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.